Maybe.
There we go.
You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about
How we game.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
And we are the Beans and Dice podcast tonight. We're going one short tonight. We unfortunately, Carlos is not feeling too great. We were actually doing a little spot with BJ from Board Game Gumbo last night, and we were on his show. And about the last 10 minutes of the show, unfortunately, Carlos started feeling ill. I didn't realize what was going on at the time. He just kind of stood up and bolted out behind me. So the rest of us carried the end of the show there. And then I found out afterwards that he was in the bathroom doing the bathroom thing when you don't feel good. So anyway, he unfortunately wasn't feeling much better today. I understand he was sick all day today. Sounds like he may have a touch of the flu or maybe the full-blown flu. So we're going to go without him tonight. So we have the three of us, myself, Wayne, and Mike. Unfortunately, the biggest change is going to be that we're not going to have access, you can see on the scroll there, to the phones. And so we encourage everybody to jump into the chat. That's going to be the way to reach out and talk to us and interact with us tonight. We're not in the studio. Figured it was best just to kind of stay out of Carlos's house tonight, so I don't have access to the phone switcher and all that. So in any case, we're going to talk about some news. We're going to talk about some games that we've been playing. Probably be a little shorter show tonight, just because we don't have the phone access. But we're going to talk until we get sick of talking here. At least an hour, probably hour and a half, something like that. And then I know it's a big sports night tonight. We've got the NFL draft going on. There's hockey playoffs. The baseball season's kicked off. So yeah. I'm going to be kind of watching all that out of the corner of my eye. But
it's not going very well for the Lightning tonight, though.
Yes, unfortunately, they were up 2-1, and then it was 2-2, and now it's 3-2. So not going so good. Yeah.
But yeah, so if you're catching our show for the first time, we apologize that there's no phones tonight. We'll be back. Hopefully, Carlos will be fully fit by next Thursday. We'll be back with our normal live call-in show. But I think we had talked in Discord that there was kind of a couple big news stories this week. So it's like, we kind of want to cover some of those at least. And then there's some Kickstarter information that came out that we were interested in talking about, and just games played. So yeah. I don't know about you guys. I think I know we talked a minute before the show, but I think the big story, we should start with that one, is the Asmodee, the kerfuffle over Asmodee.
Yeah, Wayne's going to educate me on all this. I don't know how deep Mike got into it, but I know in our Discord, Wayne was posting up some stuff. And I like I say, I was kidding around before that I started to read one of the articles. There was a lot going on. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait. Wayne will fill me in.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, a little bit. And I mean, I'm certainly not, I'm not Stephen Bonacore, like worked on Wall Street type, but I kind of have a general understanding of stuff because I got a brother that does it. And I do higher education finance, so I know a little bit of that stuff. But the week started with an interesting story that Embracer Group, which is the big overall group that bought Asmodee, which then Asmodee had bought up a million other companies over the last 5 years, 6 years or so, was going to split into three separate companies, which the one of them is the Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends, which is like they own a bunch of the Tolkien Estate IPs and a bunch of video games and stuff. Then Coffee Stain and Friends, which I think is probably the worst name for a company I've ever heard.
Wow, what a title! Yeah,
yeah. And then Asmodee Group was going to spin off, and they were like, "Oh, that's great." Maybe Embracer. We knew that Embracer had some cash flow issues and some debt, and they had grown a little, maybe too big for their britches. And certainly a market downturn over the last 6 months or so hurt them a bit. So we were thinking, Asmodee's gonna be on their own again. They're gonna be their own board game entity, but they'll still kind of have ties to sort of the Embracer Group. That was the first story that came out, and everyone was kind of like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting," blah blah blah. And then Mike and I actually got a little pre-glimpse of it at the Boardlandia Ding and Den sale, right? When during the Ding and Den sale, the folks from Boardlandia mentioned that they had just gotten a notice from Asmodee that basically they could no longer discount 20% off of MSRP. That you basically MSRP is $50, you could go 20% less on sales and discounts, but starting June 1 or May 1 or sometime in the next month or two, Asmodee was saying you're no longer allowed to discount our games. You got to sell them for the full MSRP. Which is going back to the whole map thing from a couple of years ago, that manufacturing advertised price and those kind of things. And so that was kind of interesting. Oh, well, what's going on there? And then literally that same day or a couple hours later, it hit, and it sort of hit Wargamer 1-2, was that Embracer Group actually pulled kind of a little bit of a bait and switch, that Embracer Group had $700 million in debt that was basically going to be due February or January of 2025. And so they restructured that debt and said they took out a $900 million loan basically, and they used Asmodee's assets to do so. And in doing so, they paid off all their debt and they restructured their debt and basically, cleaned off their books and then spun off Asmodee as its own company. And so the couple of interesting points, and I'm probably getting the terminology a little wrong, but basically the War Game article and a couple other articles basically said that, after all of this moving of debt, Embracer Group has about 0.6 or about a half a year's worth of profits that would pay off their debt, right? Their debt to earnings ratio type thing. But now with this restructuring of debt, Asmodee has 3.9 years of debt to earning ratio kind of
crazy.
So they have, almost 4 years of profit in just debt that they would need to, which is can't be a good sign for a company that they have that much. And what, that War Game article here that I have on the screen, it clearly states that like this debt is, where does it say? I forgot where it said. Basically that Embracer Groups that, where was it? In fact, he can't find it in the article again, but basically Embracer Group assumes no responsibility for this debt. Like this debt's not paid. It doesn't come back on Embracer Group. It's fully Asmodee now. So they're just,
what lawyer read this paperwork
and thought it was a good idea?
Signing?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
wonder.
I think, it's probably, they're still kind of parent companies, but I mean, like what's interesting is they're going to spin them all off into their own companies and put them on the NASDAQ Stockholm, right? Which is a slightly bigger one than what is it? Simon is on like the Taiwanese, the Taiwan NASDAQ, basically, which is a very smaller one. And it's not a big one, but like what person in their right mind is going to invest in Asmodee right now? Like they have $800 million in debt now. Like that's, and I wonder if that map thing that, you can't discount our games, you got to sell them for what they go for.
Minimum advertised price,
they still are selling to the retailers at a certain rate, right? But I think that I honestly, so just Wayne's useless opinion, that's them trying to get the market ready for price hikes, right? If you can't sell them cheaper, then they raise them, 20%, and then let them go back to retailing it down 20%. So it's like that price creep. And they're such a big player in the market, they're going to drive that. So I think that's an interesting. I honestly think who's gonna pay that, right? Someone's got to pay off that $800 million debt. So how do you do it? Either you got to slash your costs, so cheaper games, cheaper products, cheaper manufacturing, right, or raise your prices, right, or cut staff. So I think you might see even more consolidation of Asmodee resources into like some of those other ancillary companies or some of the other like publishing houses that are under Asmodee get kind of folded up so they can clear off some salary there. But I could also think that you might see some cheaper quality games and prices going up. I don't know. Thoughts, guys?
I think you're definitely going to see some prices going up.
they got a lot of money to make now.
Yeah, I mean, but Asmodee, they're like the largest board game owner like out there right now.
They're the biggest as hobby game. Yeah, they're the biggest.
Yeah, but still, just the fact that they got to go through that many years of profits, like you said, before they're going to get out of the red. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to. I just the whole thing that they're stuck with this debt is kind of asinine. How they got stuck with it, but the fact that. Yeah, I mean, are they going to be able to survive? Are they going to go more? Are they going to start doing Kickstarter route stuff? Who knows what? How they're.
Have we heard anything about like laying off people or anything like that? Or
I mean, they did some stuff recently, but that was Embracer Group, right? Embracer Group cut a whole. There was an article. There's an article a couple weeks ago. The Embracer Group got a couple hundred or 1,200 something employees.
Okay.
But Asmodee didn't get a lot of cuts, right? So I can see Asmodee getting. I think I'm with you when you read this article. It talks about just like now, certainly Asmodee over the next couple of years can restructure this debt. They can, if they have other they have other IPs or they have other games that hit it big, they then have another asset that they could borrow against to restructure the debt and kind of. I mean, companies do this all the time. They have a debt, they borrow other money from other financing to fund that debt. And it
Yeah.
could be quite possible that because they have assets that are worth 900 million, when it hits the stock market, people buy into that, right? Because if
Right.
and so they may turn around, and when it gets privately listed as its own company on the stock market, they may make several $100 million back in stock sales that would then allow them to pay down this debt faster, right? So that's another option too. I mean, they could certainly, when they hit the stock market, people could look at that and go, they're a good buy because they have these assets. They just got to get out of that debt. And if they get out of the debt, then we're good to go. So that's, I mean,
Right.
that's,
Yeah.
you know, companies play those games all the time, which is, you know,
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering about, just shuffling around. I mean, you shuffle it over here for a little while, then you shuffle it over there for a little
Yeah.
while. You move money around. You know, there's a lot of games they play with a lot of books and stuff.
yeah.
So
I mean, I don't think it's doom and gloom. They're too big a company. They've got enough
yeah,
assets to take down that debt, right? But I think it's just a matter of what does it mean for the downstream for the consumers, and I just don't think it's a good thing.
sure.
I don't think
Yeah.
how it could be, right? I mean,
Mm. Yeah.
but you know,
Interesting.
it is what it is. I think that, and there was, you know, it's interesting. I consume a lot of content while I'm sitting here, and it's interesting that you know, Lance Meister from Under Viking, who's on the he works for Gray Fox, and a bunch of other, like, you know, Bonacor's already covered it, and so a lot of the industry insiders are like, whoa, that's not cool, right?
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting to see if the other big dogs in the industry just follow suit in raising prices, or you could have a couple of companies try to like undercut Asmodee and say, well, we're not raising our prices are what they are, and you know, we're not gonna you know. So it'll
Yeah.
be it could be, there could be some good infighting there amongst publishers, or they could be just all, you know, rising tide floats all boats, right? And we all get screwed. So
Yeah.
True.
Yeah,
But
I
that kinda
gotta
leads-
rely on
yeah.
the industry experts on all that. That's, you know, it's a lot going on. Like I said, so that's I started reading a bit of that article, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna take an opinion of. I'm gonna give people some time to digest it, figure out what's
digest
going
it,
on, and then
and yeah,
you know,
I think
and
we
let me know.
won't really know the full impact for, like, you know, another year really to see what happens. But
Yeah.
one thing is, when you know, this is an interesting one, that a tangential story is, so Lucky Duck Games, which is a huge, it was interesting. Lucky Duck was like the fourth or fifth biggest company in hobby gaming, got bought out by Goliath Games, which is even like a bigger company. So now I think Lucky Duck Goliath combination, they're up there now with either Simon and Asmodee, right, as top
Yeah.
three as far as size.
Who else does Goliath own? Like, what do they produce?
So apparently, I read into Goliath, they're a lot more mass market. They do a lot of mass market games and like kids games, and they have like a lot of, like, not Parcheesi, but like those kind of like Parcheesi chess, checkers, like, you know, they
Yeah.
make a lot of that stuff. So they're huge in the mass market, and they bought Lucky Duck because they have had a couple of attempts at breaking into the hobby gaming market that haven't been super successful. And so by buying Lucky Duck, they now have instant access to hobby. And Lucky Duck has always tried to do, you know, some IP games and some lighter games. They tried to break into mass market. So it's kind of like both of them are going to feed off of each other. And what was interesting is, I think, I forget which podcast or show they were on. The Lucky Duck Goliath guys, they were actually on with Bonacor. They had a Board Game Insider thing where it was just them talking about it. And apparently, like, all the main people from Lucky Duck are not going anywhere. They're all staying. So it's more of like, yeah, Goliath bought Lucky Duck, but it's almost kind of like a little bit of a merger, I think, where they're going to still be their own sort of entities within themselves. And then because they each have access to different sides of the market, they'll be able to fend off of that.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these mergers.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. We had a lot of these mergers and buyouts. I mean, it's going to happen. And it sounds like there's probably some synergies here, so it seems to make sense.
Yeah. We got we'll break away from the boring talk to Mr. G's there, Kyle, saying the Bears got the quarterback
and a wide receiver.
Yeah, you may have gotten the wide receiver. I don't think you got a quarterback. I think that guy's a basket case.
You don't think Caleb's going to do it?
I think Caleb Williams is a basket case, and he's going to flame out. So
yeah, there you go. Kyle Bean.
The name is
looking
Bean.
on Goliath's website. So they've got. I'm assuming these are titles that they've published. So they did Fire Tower, Pan
Okay.
Am,
Yep.
Indiana
Okay.
Jones. It looks like they've got some Funko games
Yeah.
under their belt here.
Heard the
The
Indiana Jones ones
Goonies,
wasn't
Rear
good, but the other two were
Window.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, Honey Buzz, they did that one.
Honey Buzz is good. Yeah.
And then they have like this, it looks like a whole crime line, but nothing's pulling up there. But they did like Unsolved, usually stuff that
Oh,
you
and
see
I
in
think
Target is my...
say Marcus
That's
is
right.
saying that Goliath bought Funko as well, maybe.
They did. Yeah. I saw
Yep.
that a couple days ago. Yep.
So that's what that was. Yeah. So
so they
Goliath's
d-
gobbling up
yeah.
people. From what I understood, and I can't remember. I know it was the Bonacore show. They were talking, and they had guys from Lucky Duck and a guy from Goliath on there, and they talked about how Goliath was a lot of mass marketing games, and they were all like, those kind of things, and they had several times tried to get into hobby and kind of weren't successful for Lucky Duck. And Lucky Duck is all over the place. I mean, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and like you talk about like who sponsors podcasts, right? In the board game world, and like Lucky Duck sponsors a whole ton, right? They're
Right.
on. It's like them and Game Toppers and what, like one other company that sponsor like 90% of the podcasts out there. So it's interesting that they got bought out, and it was funny. Is I guess the Lucky Duck guy, they're French apparently. The main guy who started it, and he worked in video games before starting Lucky Duck as a board game company, and
Right.
he was saying that this was his 4th or 5th company that he had started, built, sold, and sold, but he's not going anywhere because this is a passion for him, and like his brothers or his business partners still run the computer game side of it. So it's interesting that kind of makes sense, I guess. Why Lucky Duck has the
whole
jetpack
QR code
joyride and
stuff,
QR
yeah.
code stuff. Yeah, why they're into the big video game stuff. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
so that was another big one. I mean, we're still seeing some big companies, but I think that's, with Goliath, they bought Funko, now they bought Lucky Duck. If Asmodee slips at all, you can see CMON and them kind of overtaking, over
Yeah.
time. So
Sure.
Yeah, and they've got plenty of assets to, titles and things that I guess if they needed to, they could probably split some stuff off. So yeah, we'll have to see.
yeah, and see Marcus T. Good to see you, Marcus. I think this is the first time I've seen your commenting.
Yeah.
With Funko, he
Thanks for
thinks
joining us.
they kind of laid off a lot of the Prospero Hall people. Glad to see more of a merger here with Lucky Duck. Yeah, and what's interesting is the Board Game Rundown folks who we did a cross show with them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The Board Game Rundown had a bunch of guys, former Prospero Hall Funko guys, on Tuesday on their Whiskey Wednesday last night, where they talked about what they're all up to now that they've left. I forget the new company that they formed with a bunch of former Prospero Hall designers, and what they're doing now, and
Cool.
all the games they're doing and publishing and pushing out there. So it's good to see that a lot of those Prospero Hall and Funko guys have kind of landed on the ground running with new stuff. So that's good. So we got Mr. Jeeves here. Let's see. This is the
talking
same
football.
Bears staff that ruined 2 QBs. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The Bears have had 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 different staffs over the last 30 years, and they've ruined every quarterback they've had. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
not
particular.
The Raiders
know
have
about-
only had one owner, and he's ruined every year. So
Oh yeah. My son was telling me some stat with the Commanders have drafted with their first round draft pick. They've drafted a quarterback in 5 of the last, I think he said 8 or 10 years. So that like every other year they're drafting a quarterback. That's not good.
Yeah, I'm not. I think it'll be interesting. And it's sports, speaking of the sports, but I think the I forget what they call it, where the ability for college athletes to make millions of dollars now, where they
Oh,
can
yeah,
earn
Like kind and whatever that is.
were
Whatever.
you
it
about
is,
to say like, kind, and quality?
quality? That's an
Yeah.
insurance.
You got some
Yes,
insurance
sir.
terms dropping
Your
in
image.
there. man.
Yeah.
ILM.
Yeah, you're seeing
image
some of these
likeness,
athletes.
yeah.
Yeah, they're making so much money now coming out of college, where their rookie contract. I mean, just like Caitlin Clark, right?
Oh yeah.
Granted, WNBA it does not anything close to the NBA, right? But like her base salary is like $100,000 or $150,000 with the NBA. She was making a couple $1 million at Iowa, right? It's like
Yeah.
what like. There used to be the incentive was get to the pros, make the big paycheck,
Make the big, yeah.
right? And now the NFL draft has kind of like a salary cap, right?
Yep.
It used to be like, you can't be the number 1 overall draft pick and sign like a $200 million contract anymore, right? That's
Nope.
just not going to happen. You're the first overall trick. That's your money.
Yep.
That the incentive is not as I don't know. And Caleb Williams'
Yeah.
dad and that whole family is like all whacked. I just think it's not a good
It's not
sign.
going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
They
right,
said,
back to games here, guys.
Yeah,
Come
back
on.
to games. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Let's,
10 million
we
as a college athlete. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Let's hit on the BGG awards here, the Golden
All right.
Geek
Yeah,
Awards.
let's do that.
Oh, all right, yeah,
We can go through
yeah.
that. Let's go through the BGG awards.
I've got the page pulled up.
I got it. There, you got it up here.
Share
I
that
was
up there.
thinking, let's go through these really quick and see if you guys have played any of these that are up for nomination.
All right. 2-player. So, yeah, we got
so 2-player.
yeah, go for it,
Go
Mike.
ahead, man.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, you go. I've been talking too
All
much. You talk.
So we've got Boop, The British Way, Counterinsurgency at the End of Empire. I've never even heard of that game,
I haven't either.
which doesn't mean very much,
Yeah.
all those that are listening. Disney Lorcana, Dracula versus Van Helsing, Lacuna, or
Good luck. Go with it.
yeah,
That's why he said made you talk.
something Burger Canal.
Orienberger
I
Canal.
don't even know what that is. Sail, which is the small box all play game. Sky Team, Star Wars: The Deck Building Game, and Undaunted Battle of Britain. Haven't played that one yet, but I would love to.
I've played like
what have
3
you
of
guys
those.
played out of this
I
list?
played like 3
here?
or 4 of them. I mean, I've played Boop, and this is Boop. This is like the
Ooh,
Oh, the ghosty one.
the
Halloween
ghosty
version.
sequel one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I played a
I've
couple of rounds of Lorcana, and
Oh,
I
yeah, me too.
played Sail.
I've messed around with Dracula and Van Helsing on BGA, but I haven't played it. I just kind of looked at it. and
Okay.
kind of went through some of the stuff, and I've Sky Team. I played a bunch. Star Wars.
Wayne
Deck
and I
Building,
played the crap out of Sky Team. Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
Did you see somebody did a mock-up of Sky Team, and it was Han Solo and Chewbacca? And it was
Oh,
like
yeah, I
you
saw
were
that.
flying
Oh,
the
yeah.
Millennium Falcon.
that would be cool?
Yep. I saw that. Yep.
I just
So are
don't
we-
know
are
how
we-
you wouldn't be able to talk to each other, though. That's
Yeah. Are we making predictions here, or are we just gonna throw them out there? And see
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I really don't. I mean,
played
Undaunted to
enough
me
of them
is
to
like
know,
one of the
yeah.
best 2-player games ever. Like that whole series is. But I don't know how Battle of Britain plays.
I haven't played that one.
Like I
no.
said, I've played Sail a few times, and I enjoyed it. I have a feeling Sky Team's going to win, though. Just from
Yeah, I think as far as gamers, because you have to be
Yeah.
a BGG member and have the money. You're either have the Geek Gold or whatever to vote. So you're limiting who can vote on this. So
Right.
I think that kind of puts Lorcana maybe out of it. I think if you
Probably.
looking at mass marketing, they might win it. But I think Sky Team's probably the inside track here.
Probably. I
Boop's
just
really-
wonder if it's had enough exposure. I haven't heard a lot about Sky Team. We've talked about it a fair amount, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Have y'all heard in other channels and podcasts and things?
Oh, yeah,
Have you?
yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah, a
think
lot of
so,
the other
yeah.
podcasts and channels have talked about Sky Team
Okay.
over the time. Yeah, it gets.
I
talked
think
about
it
a decent
was
chunk.
one of the higher checked out games at Dice Tower West.
Tower.
Also, so
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I like Sky Team. I can go with that.
Yeah, I
Cool.
think like Boop is really like the Boop is like come on,
It's-
that's like
Yeah, it's kind of a niche. I would
it's a
say
niche thing.
yeah.
I mean, Boop is a fun game, but like it's
Right.
this is like getting into patchworky where you have like different
To
versions
reskin.
of patchwork, and
Yeah.
they have a third one coming out too, which is something like it's like gonna be 3-dimensional Boop or something.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was like
Okay.
it was, you have, like layers of it or something.
interesting.
But anyway, yeah. But I would go with Sky Team here. I think Sky Team is probably gonna
All
win
right.
it. Lord,
Sounds
we
good to
got
me.
our call on that one.
artwork and presentation.
Ooh.
Okay. So we got Apiary, the Castles in Burgundy Special Edition. That's going to be at the bottom of the list. I'm just joking.
Of course
with
it
you.
is.
Darwin's Journey, Deliverance, Distilled, Earthborn Rangers, Expeditions, Forest Shuffle, Septima, and Voidfall. This is a tough one.
Yeah,
I
'cause
played
it's not
most
just
of
art-
those.
You want to go artwork, right? Like I look at that and I'm thinking artwork, but then it's also presentation. right?
Presentation,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Septima being a what the hell is the name of that company? I can't remember their, but they did like Tricarian, they did Perseverance. Like their presentation is like off the charts, but like you said, with artwork, I mean, Castles of Burgundy definitely under the presentation side of things.
I'm leaning that way.
I was like Darwin's Journey too, because I think the artwork there is it's a beautiful game and it has a great
And the
presentation.
components. You guys
Yeah.
said the components were kind of ridiculous. on
Different
that
game. That's
Yeah.
the Footsteps of
Oh
Darwin.
no, and the footsteps.
Oh,
Never
yeah,
mind.
This,
yeah,
is,
different
this
one,
is
yeah.
the gamery. This is the gamery gamer. This is the
right.
That's
you know,
the Euro.
this is-
Mhm.
The year
Just
of
we
Mind
also
Clash
have-
is Mind Clash for
go ahead.
Septima. That's when you were thinking of, Mike.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think like
Um,
Forest Shuffle and Earth are very similar, and they're really just art on cards.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a tremendous presentation.
That nature
in
theme, I
them.
think, is getting stale for some people too. So I don't know that that'll get a lot of votes. But yeah,
Although
I'm
I have
thinking of the
another tab
Castles of
here.
Burgundy.
Yeah, I have another tab here with the Earth expansion that's over 500,000 already. But
Oh,
we'll
really?
talk about that maybe. Yeah,
Nice.
I would think either
Voidfall-
Darwin's Journey or Castles.
I think Castles.
But
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't played Apiary, but I like the artwork in it. But again, I haven't played the game, so I really can't comment on that. I'm trying to think if I've even played any of these games. I haven't played the special edition of Castles of Burgundy.
Expeditions is the other Stonemeyer game, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so I've played Forest Shuffle Expeditions, Earth Distilled, Castles of Burgundy, Apiary. So I've played half of them.
So
Yeah.
what would you pick out of this one?
You know, with presentation, the Castles of Burgundy bid box with all the pieces and what they did there with the acrylics and everything. That
Yeah.
presentation's there. The artwork's still not that like
No.
fantastic. I think Apiary is very, very pretty. It's a well produced game, but I wouldn't put the artwork presentation like
No.
off the chart. Same thing with
Yeah.
Expeditions because it's just Scythe. It's
Yeah,
Scythe
I think that's going to hurt Expeditions.
Yeah.
It's just in that Scythe universe, so it's the same, pretty much the same exact art and everything.
I would. Darwin's Journey is up there for me. I think.
Really?
Although, you know, yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I look at all the pictures of it. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. But Castles, Darwin's Journey. But then I don't know enough. Voidfall, right? That's like the
That's the big
space,
The big space.
It was the
Legacy
Kickstarter
game.
that just delivered recently, I think.
He's like, and James is jumping in. He's saying Voidfall. So
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
fan of the Voidfall.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go out on a limb and say Earthborn Rangers, only because of the very earth friendly, environmentally friendly packaging, and the artwork is very consistent in that game. I tend to like it. I like that brownish overtones, earthy, quote unquote earthy look to it.
Yeah.
I
Save the brown
not
for the old
greatest
Euros.
artwork. What'd you say?
Save the brown for the old Euros. Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that one, Earthborn Rangers, will end up taking it.
That's
Okay.
cool.
What do you guys think?
there. Well,
I'm
I
gonna go
think
with
I'm
Darwin's
definitely
Journey.
Castles. Yeah, I played about half of them, and I'm thinking Castles, but because of the
Probably.
presentation.
Probably.
All right, let's go. Cooperative game.
Ooh.
The Art Project, Daybreak, Deliverance, Earthborn Rangers, Kinfire Chronicles, Nightfall, Marvel Zombies, a Zombicide game, Sail, Sky Team, Sleeping Gods, Distant Skies, and Unmatched Adventures, Tales to Amaze. Right, I didn't even know that Unmatched was in there. I'm going to pick that one immediately.
Yeah,
I'm not even
me
going
too.
to think
Yeah,
twice about
okay.
that one.
I haven't played
what do
any of
you
these
guys
other than
think?
Sky Team, so I really
That's all I've played. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sky Team is it. So just knowing what I know about the others, I think Unmatched is gonna take it. That's I've just seen rave reviews about that. I don't think I've seen a bad review on that one yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anything in the comments there?
Yeah, what was it?
Co-op,
James'
I
co-op,
passed.
co-op, I
James.
James out. Yeah, I'm out.
He's co-op. What is that? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
All
right.
right.
Expansions.
Expansions. Arc Nova, Marine Worlds, Beyond the Sun, Leaders of the New Dawn, Bitoku,
Restorian.
Restorian, thank
Restorian.
you. Cascadia Landmarks, Darwin's Journey, Fireland Expansion, Lost. All right, well, I know which one's going to win it. Lost Ruins of Arnak, The Missing Expedition.
Yeah, I don't know.
Return to the Dark Tower Covenant, Sea Salt and Paper, Extra Salt, Spirit Island, Nature Incarnate, and Tapestry, Fantasies, and Futures.
What's interesting is that like you immediately went to Lost Ruins, and it's like that expansion has sold out a lot of places, and I've actually like I'm not in a rush to buy it, but I keep looking on Amazon or I look at like local game store, and it's always like sold out or it's like crazy pricey. So I'm like, okay, clearly there's a demand for it, right? Or it's selling out or it's moving pretty quick, but not a lot of people are talking about it because it's like a campaignish type game, right? It's an expansion that has the campaign in it.
Yeah.
And
What
it doesn't
about,
have the kind of buzz that I thought
What
it
about
would.
Marine Worlds? Supposedly,
That's my pick.
I haven't
That's
played Arc
easily my
Nova
pick.
yet, but I heard it fixed some of the things that were wrong with Arc Nova.
Lets you clear the market row and adds marine animals and aquariums.
Not quite like Prelude for Terraforming Mars, but I've heard it. Like biggest problem with Arc Nova for me, although I like it the more and more I play it, is again you have to go hunting for the cards you're looking for, right? If you try to drill into a strategy and it's hard to pivot, but then if you're not getting the animals you need for the strategy you're building, you're screwed because you got like 10,000
huge deck of cards. Huge.
So
deck.
I know that the Marine Worlds, I haven't played it yet, but people keep talking about it. It does let you cycle through cards and kind of go hunting for cards a little bit more. So
I've heard great things about that. So that was automatic my first choice. I saw Lost Ruins and it kind of raised an eyebrow, but Arc Nova I think is going to win that one easy.
It looks like James is saying the BTS, which is the Beyond the Sun, not the Korean pop band expansion, was
disappointing. That's what I heard. The Beyond the Sun expansion was not great. Yeah.
Cascadia Landmarks seems interesting. I know Carlos has it. I don't know if he's played it yet.
I have it as well. It just kind of died down after it got launched.
And two is like I love Cascadia. Was such a simple game, right? It was pick one, move, pick a 1-in-1 and move, and you build out your thing, and then you add more to it, and it just makes it more complicated. It's almost like in Barren Park too. Like I like Barren Park, but then you add in that like tram thing, and it's just like, why are we taking a simple game that simple, elegant rule set that's just a fun filler to filler plus game, and then you add an expansion which makes it not a filler anymore. I don't. So I wonder if
I keep hearing that people the landmarks, which is what it's titled for. There was two big things: was landmarks, and then there was all new scoring cards that you got with it. And so people were saying the landmarks part of it was disappointing. Just leave that out. But people were really liking the new scoring cards. They added some neat twists on how they score and things. And so a lot of people were saying it was worth it just for that. But because of that, because it's got some negative buzz around it, I don't know that it'll get as many votes.
Yeah, so James said he played Landmarks. Good. He said it was okay. Best thing I could say is it didn't disrupt or change the game much. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Interesting.
I think it would be hilarious if Sea Salt and Paper Extra Salt won, because that's only like 6 cards.
Oh yeah.
Is it really?
Micro expansion. Yeah.
Micro expansion. Yeah. I've played that game once or twice. I still need to get a better teach, I guess.
It took me 4 or 5 or 6 games to really get it, and now I just play it constantly on BGA. Yeah,
nice. I need to do that.
Yeah.
I probably go Lost Ruins here, but probably or Arc Nova. Arc Nova. I'm gonna go Arc Nova.
Yeah. I think so.
That's it. Yep.
I'll go that route. Yeah, I would.
Innovation.
Arc Nova.
Innovative.
All right, innovative. Apiary, Daybreak, Deliverance, Earthborn Rangers, Far Away, Hegemony. How do you even pronounce it? There's like 2 ways of pronouncing.
Yeah, you can say it 2 different ways. It don't matter.
Yeah.
All right.
The Hedge game.
The Hedge game. Kutna-Hora, the City of Silver. Man, I want to play that game so bad.
I do too. I'm dying to.
That's on my list. Yeah.
Sky Team, Station Fall, Ticket to Ride Legacy, Legends of the West, and Voidfall.
What was that?
That was a big stinker for that one. That one did not get good reviews, man.
Oh, I've heard good and bad.
Yeah, it's mixed, and that's a little disappointing. But
yeah, I was pulling for it. I mean, I enjoy legacy games. I don't think I know people are like, I got enough legacy games out there, but I don't think we have enough.
I agree. I love legacy.
Station Fall, is that the one with the monkey on the cover?
No, that's After Us, right?
Yes.
No,
you're right.
No.
Station Fall. I don't know. Let me look it up. I don't know it. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I think I'm with Marcus here. Marcus T says Hegemony is the highest ranked game in 2023 on BGG at 82 already. That's pretty high.
Yeah. Station Fall. It's the one with the monkey
in space.
See, now as far as innovative though, like, are we talking about like new mechanisms?
Something new, or something really new in this. Yeah.
See, I was heading towards Hegemony as well. Yeah, asynchronous has been done a ton, but this is like taking like your high school AP American government, master's level course in economics, and it's like it was interesting. One of the I think maybe it was Secret Cabal was talking about, let's take a game and have a 2-hour teach per roll and then a 3-hour game, because it's like there's a lot in that, but everyone that's played it has said it's great. Like I've never heard someone say this game sucks, right? I've heard people say this game's pretty long. The asynchronous is hard to teach because it's so complex.
Yeah.
But I've never heard someone go, "This, the game's bad," right?
Yeah, Jim loves it. He's played
Yeah,
it several times and he raves about it all the time. There he is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do want to play it. I mean, it's right up like an alley as far as interest or thought and something I would want to do. But it's a game that it's like one of those probably don't play it more than once or twice a year type thing because it's a big game.
Because
But I
it's so
definitely
long.
Yeah, or it can be. I mean, it's not super long. It's not like Twilight Imperium long, but it can be
No.
pretty
Yeah.
long.
Oh,
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours,
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I
I don't know enough about the games I don't know.
I
I wonder
yeah.
that there's probably stuff going on in those that's
Yeah,
probably
or-
pretty innovative, but yeah.
Voidfall,
Station Fall is the
Fall.
one that I want to play. Anytime that I hear somebody talk about it, which isn't too often, honestly, everybody raves about it. Like it's this crazy game, hidden roles and all kinds of stuff. So that would be interesting to play that one. And again, Kut Nahora, I definitely want to play that. But again, I don't know what would be more innovative, but Hegemony, that would be. I could totally see that one.
Yeah, what's interesting,
winning
I don't see Apiary as very innovative. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. I was gonna say what was I think maybe the only thing I can think of there because it's worker placement, but it's got to be the little bees that have the
match it
four
up. But
sides, 1, 2, 3,
there's
4,
things
yeah.
but I mean, I gotta imagine that there's things that there's other games that have done that.
Well,
but,
dice. I mean, dice
yeah.
placement. Sometimes
Or
you roll
just-
dice to different numbers. And,
Yeah. I mean, Sky Team is cooperative, but it's that like you don't know what the other person's doing.
Yeah.
I would say that falls under innovative.
Yeah,
That
but
one.
but I would probably go with Hegemony here just because it's such a popular game.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy. It's already like, and it's not that heavily a produced game, but I can think that you have to look at BGG rankings for what they are, right? It's ranked 82. Why? Because the people who bought the Kickstarter are diehard fans of it, and they are all voting for it. So it's going to fly up the rankings.
Yeah.
But that says something about the popularity of the game. I think is that it's still over a year now, and people are still talking about it a lot. So
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and along that line though, I think Kut Nahora then may have a good chance because that is a fairly heavy euro from what I've heard. So yeah,
a lot of people talking about that one, man.
fits the
Yeah.
BGG crowd.
Yeah. So yeah,
Alright.
so one of the two of those. Yeah, light game of the
definitely.
year.
Art Society, Bonsai, Far Away, Nar, Namalia, Point City, man. Did that come out that was early last year then.
Seems like it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebel Princess, That's Not a Hat, Thunder Road Vendetta, and Trailblazers.
Nice.
I'm
So
pretty sure Thunder Road is going to take it.
probably now Nar is on BGA, and I keep seeing people talk about it.
It's good.
Is it? I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I played it a couple times on
I still
BGA.
want to play it.
What's the rundown? The 30-second.
You are collecting. You've got 3 columns on your main board, and you're kind of collecting runes to trigger these columns. And you're I forget what the resources are. You're gathering resources. It's a fairly quick little game on BGA. I'm able to complete it. If I don't know that I've played a live real time, but the turns go quick. You just make a quick decision and then it's on to the next thing. But you're triggering your board to collect the columns of the different resources. And so you take an action to trigger everything, and then you build up these resources. They allow you to buy new cards from the market, and it's really an engine builder. That's the main thing here. Is you keep buying stuff, building an engine, buying a stuff, and then there's you got to make that decision of when to turn from collecting resources to turn that engine to making points. So a lot of games out there like that. I guess it reminds me a little bit of maybe a Furnace or something like that.
Okay.
You're not bidding like you are in Furnace. You don't have the open bid, but you've got a couple different classes of cards, a couple different colors, and you're collecting them in different orders. And again, to trigger things, to get resources, to then buy more stuff, and then at some point, like I say, the victory point condition is like 30 points, and so you're racing to 30 points. But it's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I may have to just jump in a couple games on BGA, just give it a try. Then I think
I watched one video and I was good.
Cool. All right, I'll do that. I think I'm with you, Mike. I think Thunder Road Vendetta is clearly gonna run away with this one.
Yeah.
Although I will shout out. I love the fact that Bonsai got nominated. At least I think Bonsai is an okay game. It's not. It's maybe a 7 out of 10 type game, but it's the theme and it's kind of fun. Like I've talked on the show a couple times about my buddy who does bonsais, and he's like, "Oh, this is cool because it's very thematic, and the rules and the play fit the theme of bonsais." So I like when games that like that kind of make these lists because it's kind of cool. And what's funny is I'm looking at medium game of the year. I'm gonna have issue with the fact that Castle's Burgundy. I think
You're
Castle
looking ahead.
Burgundy. Yeah, I was looking ahead. Like I think we're all Thunder Road Vendetta, right? Is that what we're all going on here?
Yeah, I
think
think so.
we're in
Yeah.
agreement on that one.
Yeah,
production,
Thunder
yeah.
Road. Yeah, so James says Thunder Road really
Totally
deemed
deemed
light.
light.
Totally, yeah. It's a dice chucker chaos. Yeah, there's no real thinking there.
Yep.
But so medium game of the year.
All right, so we got Apiary, the Castles of Burgundy Special Edition, Distilled, Earth, Expeditions, Force Shuffle, Sky Team, Ticket to Ride Legacy of the West, or Legends of the West, the White Castle. I don't know why that one's in medium, and World Wonders.
I played
I think
almost
White
all
Castle
those.
should be in heavy, in my
You
opinion.
think? I haven't played White Castle. That's one of the couple that I haven't played.
Yeah, it's probably in between medium heavy.
It's crazy that Distilled is still like a last year game. Like
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel like
surprised.
Distilled came out longer than that with that, but
Yeah,
and
seems like
Earth
that.
too. I feel like Earth and Distilled
Earth
have been out
too.
for a couple of years, but
Yeah.
I always have an issue. Like Castle Burgundy is my all time favorite game, but it should not be on the game of the year. That game came out 20 years ago. Like
Yeah.
the special edition is nothing like they didn't
Yeah.
change any of the rules. It's still Castles of Burgundy from
It's
20
still the
years
same
ago.
game.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean,
The base game.
there's no,
They added some
yeah,
expansions and stuff, right?
yeah, well, what they did is they amalgamated all the various expansions that came out over the course of the years, and then they added the Vineyards expansion.
One
right?
new
So,
one, yeah.
But like you could take now on the expansions list, you could have put Castles of Burgundy Vineyards, right? I would be okay with that. But Castles of Burgundy itself shouldn't be on this list. It's not game of the year. I don't know. Anyway, not that it matters, but I wouldn't vote for that here because it's been out 20 years.
Yeah.
I've played everything here except for Ticket to Ride and White Castle and World Wonders. But what's interesting is the game day I missed with my buddy last week, the guy who likes Bonsai, they played World Wonders, and he texted me, man, that World Wonders game is really good.
People
I'm
love it.
Yeah,
Everybody's
people really
raving about it. Yeah.
and White Castle. So both of those, I think, even though they're the two I haven't played on this list, because I've played Ticket to Ride. I've played Legacy games. I can kind of know what Ticket to Ride Legacy is going to be like. It's not going to be that. Can't imagine it's going to be that much different from what you have in your head. But the two games on here I haven't played are the two that I'd probably vote for here, just because of the buzz about them. So
You don't think Earth is the giant in the room? I mean, Earth.
I still think
everybody-
Earth is fiddly as hell, and
I don't like Earth, but I so many people like Earth.
I know. You and I are like in lockstep on a couple of things like that, like Earth and
Yeah.
Arc Nova and stuff. And it's like I like it, and the more I've played it, I'm okay. But I'm like, no, I just
People love them some Earth. I don't know.
I
I just
know.
all I hear about Earth. I don't like Earth that much. It was okay, but
Yeah.
the buzz and the people still talking about Earth. I don't know. I don't know if they can take that down. Jim's going apiary. Yeah, I know Jim likes
That's a
apiary.
good
lot.
one.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it.
I think my top three would be not in any particular order, but if I had to pick three, I would think Apiary, Earth, and then World Wonders.
Okay.
Played
But I
World
think
Wonders?
Earth is going to take
Mike?
it. Yeah, everybody
played-
raves about World Wonders. Any
Yeah.
review I've ever seen on it.
And what was interesting, it was on the hot games table last year at
Yeah.
Dice Tower East.
Yeah, Dice Tower.
And I walked by
and
it
at Dice
a few-
Tower West.
and I walked by
this
it a
year.
few times. I'm like, it was like that was the one of of all the hot game tables, that was the one that was empty the most.
Oh,
Really?
really?
Yeah, it
Hmm.
was interesting because like everyone was playing Thunder Road, everyone was playing Earth, everyone was playing Expeditions and Last Light, and a couple of, and I kept seeing the World Wonders table generally open, and
Really?
I think Michelle and a few of others played it, and they were like,
Yeah.
but that's why I didn't bother like rushing to play
Mm.
it. But now like it seems to have gathered steam. And White Castle is such a small box too for its.
I need to play that one.
Yeah.
I like my Euros. I'm a little surprised I haven't played that one yet.
Do
but
we
I
know
just don't
anyone
know.
that has a copy? Maybe we could
Yeah,
play
just
it
I don't
this
know anybody in the
weekend.
group that has it, so that's probably why we
Yeah.
haven't played it yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really need to play that one.
Yeah.
So
What do you
I'd
guys
probably
think?
go White Castle or World Wonders here.
Yeah, I'm. Even though I haven't played White Castle, the buzz about. Well, I don't know. I got to go back to Earth just because. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Earth. Yeah.
Okay,
I have a feeling that's going to take it. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah,
Although people might go with like Earth is not really a new game. Like
it seems old. Yeah,
It does.
Oh,
here we go. Heavy game of the year.
Heavy game of the year. Age of Innovation, Darwin's Journey, Dune, colon, comma, Imperium,
Backslash,
backslash, uprising,
semicolon.
Tilde, ampersand.
ampersand, evacuation, which, man, I want to play that game so bad.
I don't know that one. I might
Great
have to look
Western
that up.
Trail, New Zealand, hegemony, Kutna the City of Silver, Nucleum. I have a feeling that's going to take it. Scholars of the South Tigris, and Voidfall.
Yeah, this is actually a really tough grouping because you got Dune, Darwin's Journey, Hegemony,
Nucleum.
Kunahora, Nucleum. Those are all solid games.
I could see Hegemony taking it.
I'm going to go back to Kutna Aura, just from what I've heard about it. Again, I think that falls into the BGG crowd. They like their heavy Euros, and that's a pretty heavy Euro that people have been raving about. It's newish. And I don't know, Nucleum. I've heard a lot about Nucleum. So I don't know. I could see Nucleum being up there. Scholars, I've heard, is very hit and miss. Some people really don't like Scholars. I haven't played that yet either.
Yeah, it's been all over there. I think James hits it. You got very close between Hegemony and Nucleum. I think a lot of people are, it's interesting. Is that could one game win a ton of categories and you go Hegemony, but Nucleum, people keep talking about it's like Brass meets Barrage, which I'm like, well, Brass is pretty rough. Barrage is definitely pretty rough. And if this is a combination of the two of those, like, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's heavy, I wonder if Kutnahora is just not. It's got buzz, but I don't know if it's out there enough.
I think part of what kills it is the cover on the box.
Yeah,
It's like just pretty plain, huh?
Yeah, but yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with Odak here and
either Hegemony or
Nucleum.
Yeah.
Although Doom's got a good chance, but I just have a feeling it's gonna lean the other way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have Doom, but as far as heavy, Hegemony and Nucleum are definitely heavier. So it all depends on who's voting, I guess. So, all right, party games.
All right, what do we got here? Among Cultists, a social deduction thriller. Blob Party. Weren't we talking about that one a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, that's the one with you have to make little Play-Doh guys that eventually
stick them together. On the big
that's
ball. Yeah.
Chicken ! Dixit Disney Edition. Hollywood 1947. How dare you?
With emphasis.
Nikojima. Prey Another Day. The Same Game, and That's Not a Hat.
I don't know. That's not a hat. I got to look that up. That's a funny title to me. Let me look that one up real quick.
I don't even know half of these ones, but I'm gonna vote Blob Party just because I've heard so many good things about it and seen it seems like the kind of game where
very family friendly, very light. Yeah.
I think How Dare You has a good chance of winning.
I don't know that one either.
That's the one where it's like it's got the really oddball cartoonish cover on it, and you read something and it'd be like I don't know, how tall is the Empire State Building? And then somebody will say, well, it's I think it's 1,000 feet, and well, I think it's, and when somebody gets to like something that you don't believe, you're like, how dare you, and then you look at the answer, and then if you're there's like a whole point system.
Kind of like, have you bullshitted today? You tried to bullshit today.
Yeah.
Okay. And That's Not a Hat. Let's see what this one looks like.
Yeah. Let's
look that one up.
Korea Board Games, Ravensburger.
Maybe draw something that looks like something else. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is the
premise on that one? I don't know. The description.
Yeah, let's go to the description here. It's weird one, man.
Remember a few items. Sounds easy. It's a challenge, and that's not a hat. Players give gifts to each other while trying to remember who gave what and which gift they have.
A memory game.
It's a memory game.
Yeah, I'm screwed.
Memory type game.
Yeah.
Rob would not play that game with me.
Nope.
All right. I mean, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I have heard a few people talking about this, but
let me get back to the geek. There we go.
It's definitely won some awards. It's got a whole list of awards on its page.
All right. Well, I mean,
I don't know hardly any of these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really don't either. I'll vote How Dare You, just because. Anybody
There you
else in
go.
the chat there know anything?
Yeah.
Magic Maze is good.
Marcus. Magic Maze. Oh, I like Magic Maze. Yeah, it's fun. Fun
Yeah.
facts. All right. Yeah, some good pedigree. All right.
Cool.
Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have our party games that we stuck with, and we don't get too many of those in
Yeah,
there.
lived in the
Print and
old-
plays. Something else we know.
All right.
Brand
nothing
play.
about.
Ooh, yeah.
I actually know one of these.
Yeah.
What's that?
I know one of these. I've played one of these.
I know one of. Well, all right. Here we go. Ancient Realm, Battle Card Series 1, Dungeon Pages Core Set, Flip Town, Naturopolis. Is that how that's pronounced?
Naturopolis, yeah.
Naturopolis. Thank you, man.
That's good.
I'm an idiot sometimes. All the times, actually. One Page War, Shoes Tactics, Tiny Mini Golf, Villagers of the Oak Dell, and Waypoints. The only one I actually own or I kickstarted was Waypoints, and I really like that game.
Was it good?
It's like a roll and write with it's like based on a topographical map. Like it looks really neat, and it's simple, like a one-page printout, and you grab some dice, and that's it. You go to town on it.
Nice. And I've played Battle Card, or at least the Operation Market Garden. It's basically just print and play. It's little battle maps of World War
talked about
II.
that one.
Yeah, talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
It was fun. But
I haven't played any of these.
Yeah. Not the realm of Beans and Dice. Show,
Yeah, not the
folks.
Is Fliptown a print and play? Wasn't that a produced Kickstarter?
Click on that one, see. Yeah. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
it's
Dice Tower
started
really
out
like
as
this.
a print and play, but yeah.
I
this
remember.
quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember this. Yep.
I think that
It
has a
sounded
good
familiar.
chance of taking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it does for the exposure from the Dice Tower and
Yeah.
all the good
This-
reviews it got.
This
Yeah.
might be up your alley there, Rob. It's a Western one, man.
Yeah, that's another Western. I love my Western.
Yeah. Might have to think about getting a copy of this one here.
Mm.
So yeah, I Flip Town. Let's. I'm in Flip Town.
Yeah, I'll go Flip
Yeah,
Town.
I think I would vote that one.
That's a good call. Yeah.
Solo
All right,
game.
solo game. I'm just running down the list here to see if I don't see it on there. Okay, 20 Strong, Siberian, Deliverance. Is Deliverance a solo game?
Can be played solo, maybe. I guess.
Oh, I was
I mean,
thinking
Yeah,
like
see, they're going to go Earth next. I mean, these are games that can be played solo,
that
but not
can
really
be soloed.
just solo
Okay,
games.
Earthborn
Yeah.
Rangers, Halls of Hegra,
Hoplomachus.
Hoplomachus?
Thank you, Victorium. Legacy of You, Mr. President, The American Presidency, Voidfall, and Witchcraft.
So I'm just going out with. I'm gonna say Mr. President because I just love the fact that this is a solo game that has,
Takes up 4 tables.
Takes up 4
solo game that
tables.
Takes up 4 tables. Yep. It's huge.
Is this the one that has the
DMT game.
the Green Party expansion to it?
No,
Is
no,
that
no.
this?
That's
know
the
that.
election game. That's the Gray Fox.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
no,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is a
I can't
the
remember the
Mr.
name.
President's the GMT game. It's a
Yeah.
solo game
Pretty
where
heavy.
you're the president, and you've got there's folders with 4 periods, and it's it's literally, if you look at a picture of it, it takes up 4 tables.
You're making all the decisions of a
Yeah,
president would make, all international politics and domestic politics, and
That's-
look at that. It's
Gravy, man.
huge. It's ridiculous.
That's a
And then-
solo game?
Yes,
It
and
is.
then there's
GMT.
a stack of booklets with every it has every major event of those years, over that 20-year period, and you're working through it and you're making the decision as the president, and then everything branches from there. So it's
Wow.
this,
I bet it sounds very interesting. I mean, GMT games, they don't have the best table presence, honestly, but this one actually looks pretty interesting. I'm sure it's a beast to learn, though.
they said
I would
it takes-
imagine. Dan has it. I know he kickstarted it and got it. Yeah.
Yeah, the what I hear, it's set up. First of all, it takes you an hour or
Yeah.
more to set it up, and the learning curve is a little steep, but a lot of it is you're learning as you're playing, because as different events happen, rules change and things like that. So it's gonna
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to vote for it because it's the most ridiculous game. In my almost like 30 years of gaming, the concept of this game is just like a solo game that takes up 2 4x6 tables basically when you spread it all out. Like that's crazy to me. Like you have to be a lonely person to
Yeah,
just sit there.
yeah.
Like,
Just have some time on your hands.
I'm
Hey,
kidding.
Yeah.
don't
I'm
try
kidding, but-
and listen, gatekeeper.
Yeah, I know. I'm not
There you go.
I'm
Keep 'em
joking.
loud.
No, I'm being facetious. I'm not. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm for
Yeah.
shock value. But like,
Yeah.
just the
I'm
thought of
joking.
this game though is crazy. Like, you have to have an attention span to play this game, man. Like,
Dan could totally learn this in like a
Oh yeah,
one
yeah.
sitting.
Dan,
I could totally.
we need him to
see
learn and
doing
teach it
that.
to us. That's he likes doing that. So
Yeah.
I'm going Legacy of You on this one. I'm going Garphill Games, Shim Phillips, Sam Phillips, artist. I think I know some people didn't like it, and some people have said it's kind of broken in some ways, but I think Legacy of You that's a pure solo game. Some of these games I'm kind of throwing out in my mind, like Earth, that can be soloed. I'm going to zero in on solo games and just games that are dedicated for solo. I'm saying Legacy of You.
360 to 600 minutes playtime.
Oh, there you go.
That
Yeah.
sounds reasonable.
Well, no, that's a GMT, so you got to add a curve of like
Oh yeah.
True.
like.
I like my
this-
GMT
Well, I mean, I
games,
guess
though.
you could.
Yeah.
Can you be assassinated in that game and like it would end it sooner than?
Oh, just get it over.
Like, you've the only way to play the game is to not play at all.
Right there,
Yeah,
you
well,
A little
go.
similar to Nuclear War.
So how come Final Girl isn't in this list? Is it because
out-
it's like
it
a
came-
series
Age.
two?
Probably because it's
Probably age. Yeah.
old.
Oh, all right.
The season 2 came out. That's an expansion, right? I guess I don't know. Like,
Yeah, or maybe it won last year and they exclude. I don't know. I don't know what the
Oh,
rules
maybe.
are, but yeah,
I was
Interesting.
surprised not to see that, but that's probably why. All right.
yeah, would have been a winner
Next,
before.
this is
thematic
Rob's out. I'm
game.
out. Rob's
No,
out.
I'm done. Yep, thematic. Boop.
Deliverance, Distilled, Dune, Column, Imperium / underscore Uprising,
There you go.
Earthborn Rangers, Hegemony, Sky Team, Station Fall, Thunder Road Vendetta, Voidfall, and The Witcher Old World. Oh, man.
Ooh,
There's some good
interesting.
ones in this list.
You liked The Witcher, right, Mike?
I haven't
Well, had you played it?
yet. It's still
Yeah.
in the shrink, man.
Oh, it is? Oh,
just
okay.
need to-
Somebody
I just
played
need
it and
to
liked
break
it.
it out and play it.
Yeah, somebody played it and liked it. I couldn't remember. I thought maybe it was you.
I know the Man vs. Meeple guys really raved about it.
Okay, I know I saw some of that.
Yeah. What were you going to say there, Wayne?
No, I was gonna say like The Witcher. It's an IP game, so you know,
Yeah.
it better hit the theme, right?
Yeah.
Hegemony is exceptionally thematic, right? Sky Team, I think, is other than like you can't talk, right? All of the mechanisms in that about landing a plane and you have to balance things out and get the wings down to flaps and this and that and deal with the weather. That's very thematic. And I think even though I think a lot of people cooled on Distilled a little bit or weren't happy with it, it's very thematic in how you distill, the heads and tails,
Yeah.
and you may overshoot or undershoot and not get what you want. And
I think Mr.
there's-
Jeeves has it.
So Kyle's going Thunder Road. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think for thematic? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dune Imperium, I think, is going to get a lot of votes because it was closer to the movie stuff, I think, than the first one. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe Dune.
I think Dune can get in there, but I think Thunder Road, obviously, but there's a lot of good games in here.
Yeah.
I can make an argument
Yeah.
for a bunch of them, but
I could also see Earthborn Rangers getting some good amount of votes also. I mean, I think all of these games deserve to be in this list from what I've heard and watched. So
yeah, I look at this list and I go, none of these are unthematic. They're all
yeah.
hitting the mark. So yeah, but I think Thunder Road, Hegemony, yeah, it's tough.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Next up
We're split on
is
that one.
War
War
Game.
This is Carlos.
I'm
thing.
probably gonna. need
Oh
some
yeah,
help
Carlos
with
have to
these,
tell us on
man.
this one. We probably won't know any of these.
Bloodstones, The British Way, Counterinsurgency at the End of Empire, Downfall, Conquest of the Third Reich, General Orders, World War II, Halls of Hegra, The Hunt, North Africa 41, People Power, Insurgency in the Philippines,
Plantagenet? Plantagenet.
Plantagenet, Cousins War for England, I'm just staring at it.
Triomphe Amingro.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully it's French.
Undaunted-
If it's Spanish, then it's pronounced different.
Yeah, something different.
Undaunted Battle of Britain and is
Weimar.
it Weimar?
Weimar.
Yeah, the Weimar, the fight for democracy.
Yeah, the Weimar Republic.
Um,
I think the only one I've heard of here is really General Orders. And I think
Undaunted.
maybe
but-
Undaunted.
Oh, Undaunted, yeah.
Undaunted, of course.
But the Battle for Britain, I heard, was very different because it's air
Yeah.
battle, not land. And
Yep.
I haven't heard good
Yes.
about it as much as the
No,
other
I haven't really either.
They say it's a lot lighter than the other ones.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be. Yeah. I don't know these at all.
I don't know too many of these, but one I would have liked to have seen in here, which I doubt would have even made it, would have been Zermatt, Counterinsurgency, which is a 2-player game that could have made a couple of. Man, that game was so freaking good, but it's 100% an indie game. But yeah, I really, other than the Undaunted series, I don't know too much in this this list here.
Jim wants to play that Mr. President game now.
Yeah.
If you like
coming back to
Hegemony,
it.
you'll probably really love Mr. President, man. Yeah.
All right, Dan, you got to learn it.
Probably.
Got to get it out there.
Mr. Jeeves.
Yeah, Mr. Jeeves like us. Yeah. Don't know war
Yep.
games.
Yeah.
All right, on to the
Now,
next
now
one.
the all this proves is that people don't love us. Really?
Aw. Maybe next year. We'll try again.
Here we go. Best podcast.
Tough,
Beyond
man.
Solitaire, Blue Peg, Pink Peg. They've never won before. Blue Peg,
No.
Pink Peg.
Guess not.
They've been nominated a ton.
Yeah.
Board Game Barbecue.
They're out of Australia.
Board Game Hot Takes. I would like to see them win.
they're pretty
I
good.
like their podcast. Decision Space. 5 Games for Doomsday. That's
Love that one.
I think I've listened to them a couple of times. Friendly
just-
Ties. Game Brain, a board game podcast about our gaming group. The Gamecasters, One Stop Co-op Shop, and Talk Cardboard.
I think I subscribe to all of these except for Friendly Ties.
Really?
Yeah.
Man,
Do you really listen to all these?
Yeah.
that's
How
a
the hell
lot.
do you have the time, man?
Yeah.
Two times speed while I work. Just all day
Even
long.
so.
Yeah.
I think the only one that I really listen to regularly is Board Game Hot Takes.
That's
Yeah.
right. I think. Yeah, I'd go there.
I think actually the Gamecasters and Friendly Ties are the only two that I'm not subscribed to, that I don't listen to. They're all pretty good. The Decision Space I like, and Board Game Hot Takes, because they both are like that. It's not as polished. It's like, let's play a game and then talk about our experience, which kind of fits with like what we do a lot too, where it's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
you know, just off the cuff. What do you think? It's not polished. 5 Games for Doomsday is what's his name? It's a British guy. He lives in Germany. He's an actor. I love that just because it's an interview show. He interviews people, and the course of the interview, they have to pick 5 games that they would take with them for Doomsday.
Right.
And it's always kind of interesting. And he does his research, and he kind of knows people. Ben Maddox, thank you, Mr. G.
Oh, Ben Maddox. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Ben Maddox, yeah. So 5 Games to do is Ben Maddox. Yeah, right in. Here we go. 5. Right in. Vote for Beans
Hey,
and Dice.
right
Yeah.
in. Hey. Appreciate
And then Mr. G's to go 5. I'd go that as well. As I don't always listen to it the whole of all of it, but it's really cool. I like the way he does it, where it's it's an interview where he's interviewing
How to eat
very
first.
people in the market, and then in the board game industry, excuse me, and that concept of why you would choose certain games, and then how you got in it.
Yeah.
He did. I remember when he interviewed Paula Denning a couple months back,
Oh, yeah.
and talks about her in acting and how she got into it, and the trials and tribulations of that, and the pandemic, and Hollywood, and it's fun. It's a good one, but also I think Board Game Hot Takes is a really good one. They're pretty new. They've only been around.
They've been around, I think, 4 years now.
Oh, is it really 4? Okay, longer than I
Yeah.
thought. Then, yeah.
Did you listen to their show a couple of weeks ago where they did like if you were on it kind of like the 5 Games for Doomsday.
Yep.
Like if you're on the Desert
Desert
Island.
Island, yeah.
Yeah.
What's her name that did Wormspan?
Yeah. Connie Vogelman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was a guest on the show. Did you hear
Yep.
what her number 1 was?
I did, but I forgot. What was it again?
It was now it just slipped my mind. The one
skipped
with
out of your mind?
the football one. Blood Bowl?
Oh yeah, I
Blood
remember
Bowl,
saying that.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
That's right. I
surprising.
remember that. Like, oh, Blood Bowl. Yeah, I meant to miss
Yeah,
that.
I thought that
Huh.
was pretty interesting.
Although I think of all of these, I think Blue Peg Pink Peg's been around the longest, so they may
I'm very
jump up
surprised
get
they've
it.
never been
Yeah.
nominated.
And let's just say
or
Beyond Solitaire,
haven't
One Stop
won.
Co-op Shop, they're kind of like that's Jason Perez, and I forget the woman's name. She works at like a college university, and she's always bringing on like PhDs and like people from academia to talk about gaming and things like that. That's,
Oh wow.
but they have a lot of crossover between the two of those.
I got to defer to Wayne. So what's your thought? What's your pick?
I mean, my pick would be 5 Games to Tuesday because I think Ben Maddox deserves it because he does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But I think Blue Peg Pink
Good.
Peg probably the biggest audience, so it might be their time to shine. But
yeah.
I would probably also go Board Game Hot Takes. My only thing that with Board Game Hot Takes is because, like, and we kind of don't do it as much as like a lot of their games they play on BGA and then they talk about it. So they're not as in-person gaming.
The only problem that I have with their podcast, and if you guys are listening, please don't take this the wrong way.
Yeah, no, I love that. I listen to it every week. So.
Like you said, they typically play the games on BGA. They comment on the oh Jesus! Now my mind is so freaking gone today. They comment on the production value.
Oh, is it
of the
production?
game.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like
I have a big issue with that because I think it was just this past week, one of the guys said something to the effect of, I know we played on BGA and we really didn't care for the production value, but I actually played the physical copy and they ended up liking it more. Yeah. And I'm just like,
how many times would that happen?
You can't comment on that.
Yeah.
It's not the same as like the tactile feel of it and the quality of the components. And sure, you can talk about the art and all that, but that's the only issue that I have with them. Other than that, I absolutely love that podcast.
No, yeah,
really
I definitely
do a great job.
Yeah, I love their podcast. I'm with you 100%. I love it. I think I play a lot of games on BGA, and there are games that I've not played in real life, right? And I don't think I would really feel comfortable because there's a lot you miss. Like there are games where I'm just kind of like trying to learn on BGA, like After Us, right? I played After Us a bunch on BGA. I'm okay at it, but I feel like if I play in person, like that thing, like I remember playing Stone Age for the first. I played it first on BGA, and I liked it. Went out and bought a copy and played it in person, and I'm like, oh, that's what that card means, right? And how you score it, right? It's like I love BGA, and like in the last 2 years, I've played several thousand games on BGA, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan and proponent of it, but you don't, especially more complex midweight to heavier games, you're gonna miss things in the gameplay, in the intricacies that playing in person is just way better.
And speaking of which, I mean, we just finished that game of Res Arcana, the 4 of us.
I got crushed. That was horrible.
I thought I knew that game in and out. Like I was like, I know all the rules. This is going to be awesome. And then as we're going through, because I wanted to win that game so damn bad. And Sam, you that was a good win. I'm gonna give it to you.
Not gonna take it away from me.
I referenced that rule book so many times trying to find loopholes and things. Oh. And as I'm playing, because I took a totally different approach. Like I went more dragons. I've never done like attacks or anything like that in that game. And like there's a couple of cards in there. I'm like, I'm not even sure exactly how this card's gonna work. And like I even learned a few things playing that game. And I've played that game probably more than most games that I own. But it was I love Res Arcana too. It's one of my favorites. But I'm glad I played it that way because BGA keeps you in line. And I was that the one that was? Oh no, it was Cartographers that was in alpha.
Oh my god, I haven't played Cartographers in like a year and a half.
I love that game.
I forget all the scoring mechanisms. So I think BGA has like pros and cons. Like sometimes you learn rules you were playing wrong.
Exactly.
Because it won't let you cheat, right? Like by mistake, right? Sometimes. Hey, I don't. People make mistakes when they play games, but then again, you miss, especially like the bigger games, like Hadrian's Wall. You played Hadrian's Wall, and it's like you don't get the spatial awareness of what other people are doing. I think even with like Tapestry and like
Yeah.
some of the other games. Anyway, we're getting off the best podcast, but it's a good tangent. It's just I love BGA, but there's some downfalls to it. I don't certain things you miss in, like Rob loves to learn games by watching everyone's turns, right?
Yeah.
You miss that on BGA.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
You're
big
not
time.
going to see what other people are doing. You're very
Big time.
siloed. So
Yeah.
So so doing a hot take on games you only played on BGA is fine, but yeah, don't comment on production value and pieces and components and
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and
I agree.
and then preface like we might have missed some things in the greater picture of this game because it's very
Right.
isolated.
Exactly.
experience is important.
All
you know?
right.
Yep.
Next
I'm
one.
gonna
Is this the
put-
last
yeah.
one?
Blue
Best board game app.
Best board game app. Yeah, this is the last one.
Okay. Capital Lux 2, Discordia, Fantasy Realms by WizKids, Fleet the Dice Game. I didn't know there was an app for that.
I know. I'm about to go buy that app now.
Munchkin Digital, Numsters. I don't even know what game that is.
I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Power Grid board. They have a Power Grid board game app.
I don't know. Ooh. All right.
All right. Super Mega Lucky Box, Twilight Struggle, Red Sea, and Unmatched Digital Edition.
I think as Jim points out, Seesaw on paper, much different game on BGA than in real life. Probably.
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well.
All right. So Power Grid, I need to go get that, and Fleet the Dice Game, I need to go get that.
Yeah, I love Fleet the Dice Game. I haven't played that in a while. I think Three Sisters has bested that one for me.
Really?
But
That's what I heard.
I still like it.
And BJ agreed. He said Three Sisters.
Yeah.
Like because we were talking about because one of the what's the new one? The
Motor City. BJ's a big
Motor
fan
City.
of Motor City.
no,
yeah.
what's the one before that that BJ's actually in?
The
New Orleans one.
yeah,
Oh,
the set in New Orleans.
It's the name of. It'll come to me, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it will. But anyway, so BJ's in that game, Mike.
Mhm.
BJ's Gumbo Shop is in that game.
Mhm.
But I
Oh,
played
that's
Fleet the
cool.
Dice Game for the first time this year, and I loved it. Like I almost went
good.
out immediately and bought a copy of it because I'm like, this is a fun game.
It's a good game.
And I know I said it on the show a couple weeks ago when we played it. I'm like, forever I thought that it was a pirate game.
That's funny. No, you're fishing. Little
Yeah.
different theme.
Yeah,
but
Fleet
who
the Dice- I
needs
thought it was
theme
like,
anyway? Who cares?
Yeah, but no, it's
Yeah.
fishing. I was like, oh, that's cool. All right,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if you like that, you would definitely like Three Sisters.
I
as
got to play
well.
Three Sisters. I still haven't played that yet.
Yeah.
But I like
It's got the
what's the
rondel
general
mechanism
theme
in
behind
it,
Three
but-
Sisters? Because Fleet the Dice Games have you fishing. There's the New Orleans one where you're going to all the different places in New Orleans, eating and drinking. What's
Mhm.
Three Sisters?
So Three Sisters, where the term comes from, it's you're growing three things in a single crop. So you're growing corn, pumpkins, and beans.
Yeah.
And the corn provides the stalk so the greens can grow up, and then it has something to
Okay.
do with the
So it's-
pumpkins. Like this is a legitimate thing, like in real life.
Yep,
So
Yeah, you
You've
rotate
got
those crops to
your-
keep the soil good. Yep.
right, so you've got your six areas where you're actually growing those things. You have to plant and then grow them, and then you have another area where you are. It's like like an apiary. You're maintaining an apiary. Then you're also growing fruit, and then you have an area for wildflowers and upgrades and stuff like that. And then you've got your like a shed where you can do all kinds of upgrades that'll give you powers.
Nice.
But it's based on this rondel system where you're rolling dice and then you're grouping the dice together and you're putting them around this board. And starting with the first person, each person is going to take a die, and whatever the face on that die is, that's where you're going to start growing in that garden area. And then whatever's left over, I think it's the lowest die of what's left over, everybody gets that one. As you're pulling the dice, you're also getting like a special power or a special thing that you can do, whatever that die was sitting on. But it's just one of those, and again, I freaking love games like this that I can do this, and then it's going to give me this. And since I got a star here, it's going to give me an extra spot over here, and then I can move up on this track. And it just makes you feel
goodness.
like a genius when you're done,
Yeah.
Very similar to how Fleet the Dice Game is.
Yeah.
Whereas, Fleet the Dice Game, you've got your little town, your buildings that you're adding to. That's what like the equivalent of the shed is in Three Sisters.
As far as board game apps, so I'm going to Fleet the Dice Game because I'm thinking about like I only play a couple on my phone. I only do a couple of things as far as like games, and it's usually I have Gauntron Clever and I have Onirim, those kind of things. Fleet the Dice game one I could easily play kind of on my phone. So if I'm going with an app on my phone, I'm gonna go probably of this list. I'd go with Fleet the Dice game because everything else I'm gonna do on Steam or on BGA, which is on my computer monitors, which are bigger. So
yeah, me personally, that's what I would either go for that or Power Grid if Power Grid is what I think it is.
Yeah, if it's
I'm assuming
Power
it
Grid,
is.
yeah.
And the implementation on these is going to be big. So to be honest, I definitely can't say just because I haven't played any of them, much less all of them. But yeah, it's going to be a lot to be is going to be based on how well they did the app, how well they did the conversion, how well the application is. So short of playing them, I don't think I could really say.
I think the Boot Pay Pink Pay people keep talking about Super Mega Logi Box like all the time, and I'm like, I don't even know what it.
I'm not familiar with that at all.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like a party-ish type game. So
yeah, Dice Tower liked it. It's that's another one that's really old. I can't believe that was last year. But yeah,
well,
that's
game,
the app.
The game
Sorry.
is the app.
Yeah, that's the app. Right. Okay.
So there you go. There's the Board Game Geek games. So
nice.
Yeah.
Right.
We got a couple
yeah,
more
our
things
semi-educated opinions on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guessing it's some of those. But...
I haven't played too many of those, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's fun though. It's interesting.
Have you guys done any gaming recently since last week?
Oh, since last week. Oh, I had games that I played before that I didn't talk about last week, so I was going to bring some things up, but no.
All right. I mean, what do we want to do next? We can talk. You want to talk about
finish off the news, or
we're already like an hour and 15 into this.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna end up being the full 2. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But, no, this is a quick one. So Gamma announced their results for elections for the officers, and it's the first time in history they have all women. So
wow.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So the Gamma is a game manufacturers association. So it's basically all the big game manufacturers, producers, companies. Now they have a whole thing for content creators too, apparently in Gamma. So they're kind of like, or media. They have a whole media track. So, hey, diversity matters, right? It'd be interesting to see. I know that Gamma over the last 5 or 6 years has had a lot of troubles with their board and people leaving and coming, and sort of they're the trade organization for the industry. So it'd be interesting to see where they go. So it'd be kind of interesting that see Joe saying he wants Rob Starless Unlimited wanted to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I got one run through on that, but I'll hit that in just a minute here when we get to board games played.
The last news story was Jamie Stegmeier's Vantage. He announced his big open world he said it's roguelike.
Open world.
Yeah, open world roguelike. So it's very much like the roguelike to me is Slay the Spire, right? You're gonna play it and fail and keep playing it until you get it right. So
I'm very interested in this game.
I am too. I'm liking it. What I'm seeing about it and hearing about it. I know he's worked on it a long time. Obviously, we're all most of us are interested in what he's done. He's been a friend of the show, and even beside
without all that.
Yeah, I still like his games. Yeah. There's been a few that I haven't liked, but mostly been hits. So
they're all solid. None of his games have been bad, other than maybe Pendulum.
I would say the timer one, Pendulum. That was it. Yeah.
So Vantage is an open world cooperative roguelike adventure for 1 to 6 players, designed by Jamie Stegmaier. Over nearly 800 interconnected locations on cards of over 900 discoverable. That's a lot.
Yeah. Marcus asking, is this Jamie's first co-op game? I don't know. Can you think of another Stonemeyer or Stegmaier, I guess, co-op?
One of the expansions for Viticulture, wasn't that co-op?
Yeah, Viticulture World makes it Viticulture, makes Viticulture, but
as far as base game, I can't think of any other one.
Yeah, this is definitely his first. It's not a campaign game, though. So each game is self-contained.
Which is a bit of a downer for me. I know people, like Mike mentioned, a lot of people are saying they're burning out on Legacy, they're burning it out on campaign. But for me, I keep them coming. I love my big grandiose Legacy, and
So that's what I like. 800 interconnected locations, 900 cards. Roguelike is I play Slay the Spire like on my PlayStation.
Me too, on the phone.
The more you play it, right, you have to play it hundreds of times. This is a lot. And are you going to play this game that many times to Like that's what I worry is like it's
Mm.
not a campaign, so there's no definitive story arc. So you just got to keep playing it and to discover new things.
Nothing wrong with that.
And
Yeah,
nothing wrong with
Sleeping
that.
Gods.
But
Sleeping Gods
yeah,
did that. Yeah. Mm.
yeah. So Sleeping Gods, you got to go back through the story multiple times to find everything, right? But like, how
Right.
many times? Like, I guess the question is, how many times do you have to play it to discover everything? And so, like, how many times do you have to play Vantage to discover everything? And what's the percentage of people that are going to do that versus play it
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10 times and then tire of it?
It's got its crowd. I mean, it's got its market because, like I said,
Yeah.
Sleeping Gods has been a huge hit. And Sleeping Gods, you've got to go through that a lot of times to find all the content. If you
Yeah.
haven't played that, that book is about 20 to 30 pages, and every one has about 10 different, even more than that. Every page has, oh no, maybe about, I'm thinking of a 2-page spread now, actually, that I'm thinking about it, but about 10 locations on the 2-page spread. And you start that one and you kind of go in a direction. You can go north, south, east, or west from the start, and then you can branch from there. You go to an island, you flip a page, you flip another one, it sends you back 3 pages, and you would have to play quite a bit of that to discover. And so some people love that. Some people in Sleeping Gods, it's the idols. There's like 100 idols hidden throughout the game, and you have to go to different places.
There was that many, man.
Oh yeah,
when I first
each
started
run
playing,
you get
I thought
like
there was only 14 or 15.
Yeah, each run you get like 3 or 4, maybe 5. That's a great run. They call it a run, which is about an 8 to 10 hour run of the game.
That's a lot,
and
yeah.
then you find 3 or 4, maybe 5 at a time, and there's 100. So it gives you an idea of how many times you'd have to churn that game to be completed. And I am a completionist with video games. I do that with a lot of games. I try to find all the hidden stars, all the hidden flags, the feathers, whatever.
And that's why I feel like games like that are just not for me. Like I need like I like legacy games. So like like Pandemic is great because you have 12 to 24 games and you've played the story and you're done.
Yeah.
Sandbox games, and that's like I get too down a rabbit hole in sandbox games. Like bringing the video games into it, like the Elder Scrolls games, right? Or like it was just where it's completely open world. I want to do everything, and it's just too much. I like video games that are like slightly on the rails, where it's like you're always kind of moving forward through the story. Yeah, but Horizon Zero Dawn or the Uncharted games, or the Tomb Raider games, you're always moving towards a conclusion, but you can do the side quests on the way. That's where like I worry a game like this would lose me after a while because, man, I play a lot of games, but I can't play one game that much. I don't know.
It's got to really capture, as on the video game side, it's really got to capture my attention. And I think the only games that have ever done that are the Just Cause series, except for Just Cause 4, which is total crap, and the Far Cry series. And I've loved every single one of those. And every time a new one comes out, it's like I'm burning hours on that game. Yeah. Something like this comes out, and I'll be honest, I'm going to buy it. I don't even care. I'm buying it. Yeah. It probably won't hit the table that much, but I think if I get the entertainment out of it and the enjoyment out of it, I don't need to finish everything.
Yeah, but if 10 is it 10 plays enough to get your money's worth?
Right, and that's kind of how I look at it. And when I heard about this, I was thinking, oh man, that Spiritfire from Orange Nebula, they have their last Kickstarter for Spiritfire. It sounds very similar to this, although Spiritfire is a solo game. And their approach is, like you are the game type of thing. Sometimes they go a little marketing crazy, but it just sounds intriguing to me. Whereas this, if it's co-op, I like the fact that you can solo this. I hope you don't need the 2-hand this, at the minimum.
It says 1 to 6. So
right. So I hope it plays well at a legitimate 1. And I like the fact that there's no expansions. Everything is in the box. Like you said, except for a couple of accessories, which I'm totally fine with.
Are you buying the coin now, Mike? Are you buying
those coins? Are already on the market. Yeah, I didn't realize they were already out, but yeah,
they're already. On
you got to feed the beast. If you buy the coins now, then Jamie's gonna make a copy just for you. They'll be the.
Here's the thing: I need to find somebody. I need to find somebody that's a Stonemaier champion.
I'm a champion.
There's plenty of them.
Used to be, and I just stopped buying games. So it didn't make any sense for me to continue it. But
I'm a champion.
I may have to be a champion again if I'm gonna start getting in on this.
Yeah, but I can look. I'm a champion. If I can buy it and just have it shipped to your address, then We can do that.
All right, that sounds.
I'm just
good to
excited
me.
about the amount of time he spent on. He was talking about this
7 years.
my first design
That's
Stonemeyer design day that I
crazy.
went to pre-COVID, and he was all excited about it. He was like, "Yeah, I can't say anything, but there's this passion project. I've wanted to do it since I started designing games." And I think he was talking about the open world. Wouldn't say that, but I think he really wanted to do a big, grand, open world. Go where you want, do what you want to do, kind of game. And
Yeah.
for 7 years, been working on it. Yeah, I didn't know it was 7 years. Kyle mentioned that, I think, in our Discord,
Yeah.
but incredible.
What
Yeah.
What do we think the MSRP is going to be? 800,
Ooh.
900 cards.
I think it's gonna fall right in line with like his Scythe game. I can see this
think?
one being like $60 to $75. Like,
Ooh.
Wow.
No, I was
thinking
thinking-
closer to 100,
I was
no,
thinking
I
like
wasn't-
120.
all right,
120, 100, 120. I'm thinking. Yeah.
all right, that's cool.
We'll see.
How-
What did
Um,
Expedition start at? Do you remember?
yeah, I was
Does
gonna
anybody
say-
remember?
The expeditions
Oh,
was like
that's true.
70 or 80, and then you've got the Ironclad. It was like 110.
I think it was 110,
150.
120. Yeah.
All right, I'm
Those had
upping mine.
Iron Max or
Yeah,
Metal
yeah.
Max. But
$99.
99, 99.
if you're a Stonemeyer
That's-
champion, if
That's
not,
where I'm
it's
coming in at.
basically
$99,
$99,
and
but you need
then
100
he'll have
for
a
free
package
shipping.
with all the accessories for like
Yeah.
120,
Something like that.
130.
Yeah, probably in that range. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
he's
mean,
going to
they-
try to keep the add-ons down on this, and I believe
Yeah.
that. I mean, he's been pretty honest about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
And we're going to learn a lot more over the next year. But this would be a game that, like, if 1 to 6 players, I wouldn't mind if we had a group in Tampa that said we're going to get together like maybe once a month or every other month and spend run a couple of missions and just do it
I'd
as
be down.
a big group or something.
Mhm.
That would be kind of cool.
Is
But
that
yeah,
how it's going to play though?
I don't know. As you know, who knows?
Yeah, that's the
We'll learn more.
that's the intriguing thing to me is like open world, sure.
It kind of sounds like
Uh,
7 Citadel, 7 Continent, where you have cards and you're
Yeah.
like maybe building out a map.
Oh man, don't
a
you
little bit.
dare
Don't you
talk
go
dirty
there.
to me like that.
Is your mic all hot and bothered? After 10 o'clock.
We're after 10 o'clock now, man. You good?
Oh man.
All right, we'll run through these real quick. Kickstarter stuff. You got, look at that, Earth expansion, $600,000 in the first 2 days.
Not
Scroll
interested.
down. I want to see what
What they get back?
level they're backing.
All
at,
right,
'cause
so you got
I'm sure there's going to be people that don't even own the game that are getting everything.
so you got 429 people at $1.
Okay.
You've got 6,000 basically at just the expansion.
Okay.
You got 800 at the base game and the expansion, 820 backers. Then you got this retailer pledge, 67. Everything new. So the expansion plus a
and
bunch
then,
of
like,
the new
the
upgrades, all
components and
the
stuff.
component upgrades, 1,000, 1,100 backers. And then the everything Earth, which is $250.
Ooh.
200, only 277 people though. That's
Yeah,
pretty
a lot.
pretty heavy. Yeah. I mean, they got a lot of like expansion stuff. They got like all these upgraded bits and what's interesting, like Micah's problem with Earth is you hit the table and everything goes flying. Looks like in the new pieces they kind of fit together. They've got these little dimples, I guess you want to call them, and
They had that in the original one. It's those. Like scroll back up a little bit.
yeah.
Those right there. The deluxe upgrades.
Oh, I was gonna say I saw
Yeah.
something that
Those
actually
are
looked
the
like
Oh yeah,
trees
this
and
there's a whole
yeah.
thing about that. They look like trees. There's a good picture
and
of
then
that
the little
down
sprouts. They
Yeah.
turned your cubes into sprouts.
here. Yeah.
Yeah,
There
no,
you
yeah,
go.
that's
Look at
probably why
that.
I don't like it. Yeah, no cubes, no good.
I still think I think the problem with the sprouts is they're going to topple over even easier.
Yeah.
God,
I do like the 84 different colored canopies in 3 different shapes. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I bet this is going to have some killer table presence. Even
Yeah.
You know,
Now
these
this
extras.
is
Yeah,
better
there you go. Look at that.
card value than the but yeah, so that I want to bring up the 6th realm that this was
Oh,
mentioned
man.
on.
Board game
I'm
gumbo.
so hot on this game, man. I need to learn everything about it before
Yeah,
I go into the
BJ
backing
from Board Game
phase.
Gumbo was talking about that. Now we have to reach back out to BJ because he mentioned that he has a demo
yeah.
copy of this
That he's
that he's
still
got to
gonna-
move on
He
afterwards.
needs to pass
so,
along. He's required to pass along. So he was.
BJ, if
he
you're
was-
listening, we'll.
Yeah, wondering
you
if maybe Tampa was interested. So I think we made it known that at least you and I were pretty interested in
Yeah.
this one. So yeah,
bring it on, man.
be
Yeah,
cool to
This
get
looks
it.
kind of cool. It's
Very
that's
interested in this one.
great table
Yeah.
presence.
Yeah, he
150,
ex-
100.
Explained it as what, like 6 little mini games that you got to kind
Yeah.
of master each mini game and then figure out how to make them work together. And yeah,
Same people that did
oh the merchants
Merchant's
Cove.
Cove.
Yeah, Those guys in Louisiana love some Merchant's Cove. You know?
Exactly.
Which I'm very surprised that
this is the same
because
this is the same universe as Merchant's Code too.
Same universe, but they haven't delivered on
beginning.
the expansions. Their last Kickstarter, so I'm
Oh,
surprised
really?
that they were
Oh,
able to
that's
launch this one without delivering on the other one.
Ooh.
I do appreciate the more realistic pledge level, 40 grand. You know, it's not crazy, but it's not the 10,000
Agreed.
that most people said it at.
Yeah, their goal. Yeah.
Yep. I thought it was funny. Adventure Time, the RPG
No.
game.
Okay.
$500,000. I mean, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
What are the levels on this one? What can you
What can you pledge for?
So base game is
available
50.
rewards?
Slam bam in a can.
Nice.
So a couple books, $50.
Okay.
Then a couple books with additional
Wellness
stuff,
Ding Dong.
85. Then 100 more in there.
Oh man.
And you got everything for 135.
Is this running off like the 5e system or what's going on here?
Probably its own thing. It looks like. Well, it's got all the different dice. So yeah, maybe like 5e type. I don't know. I mean, I've never watched Adventure Time, although apparently.
Oh, dude, you have to
really
watch
good.
this cartoon, man. It's so
It's
good.
crazy.
All right. Start from the beginning though, and go on.
I mean, you can hop in wherever you want, but
Yeah.
a lot of the characters are really cool in this
All right,
game.
yeah, watch that.
Yeah.
And then the last one, real quick, before we get to games played, is Rob here wanted to talk about.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to talk
War.
about a little bit. And this is again, I was a little disappointed because again they announced or they started talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm a huge fan of God of War. I played them all on the PlayStation, and can't get enough God of War. And then they talked about minis, they talked about all these different scenarios, and then they mentioned there's no campaign. And again, I know people are talking about campaign burnout. People are talking about, that the day of the campaign is in decline, and you're going to see lots of more of these scenario-based games where you just play them as one-offs. But man, I love me some connecting material, especially in something like this off a video game. I want to feel like I'm going through a long progression. I'm getting stronger. I'm finding new things. I want to carry stuff over from game to game. So I was disappointed. And then the other big thing is this is basically only a 2-player game. It does say 1 to 2 players, but they said at 1 player, you're playing an alternate set of rules and you're handling things entirely differently than you do in the 2-player game. So it's really
expandable. It says right here, expandable up to 4 with expansion.
Oh, okay. So the base I hadn't heard that there was an expansion to make it 4, but they did say some more characters were going to be coming out. So I guess that's when I heard that maybe. So okay, so that's a little hopeful that it's not basically just a 2-player, but the base game is going to have just the 2 main characters, Kratos and then his son Atreus. This system looks cool. I watched a Man vs. Meeple playthrough. They did a video of their 2-player playthrough, and it looks like fun. So I was down on it, and then actually I watched their playthrough just yesterday, and I'm back up on it a little bit. But again, I wish
you're
there
going
was
to
some
back
kind of
it though.
campaign.
That was my
probably
question.
not.
Like,
Yeah, I don't. I just don't back. I'm going to wait till it comes out. I'm going to wait and see what the buzz is. I'm going to see what the final verdict is on it, and I'll probably pick it up after.
Any inkling that you thought like, oh man, this could be the one I back?
No, not really. Yeah, and I mean this is a huge IP for me too. So if this doesn't do it, it's going to be hard to get me in on anything. So, but yeah,
I just generally stay away from IP games, like the big Kickstarter IP games. I've never backed one. Like so many of them are disappointing, or they're good, but like you have to love that IP beyond.
I think the big ones that I backed were This War of Mine, which 100% paid off,
right?
And then Stalker, the Chernobyl one, which their last update, they screwed a lot of things up in the two updates ago, but this last one they supposedly fixed a lot of things. So
I was going to bring up there's a Project L like a new
Square One.
Yeah.
Didn't catch my eye very much. I mean, it looks clean. It's got all those clean lines like Project L does.
But it didn't have like all the little shapes. It's like cards. It looked like it was card based, right?
Well, it's cards, but everything is on like square pieces. Okay. They look like Azul pieces, like the squares, but then they had the little Tetris pieces, shapes printed on each square. So I'm really not sure how it plays, but I've already got Project L. I don't feel I need Square One.
There you
go. Okay. All
So
right, we're going
games
to
played?
transition. Yeah, over to some
Yeah.
games played recently. I'll just start off. We can go round robin here. We hit them up
Sure.
one at a time. But I'm glad Joe chimed in the chat earlier there and reminded me about Star Wars Unlimited. So we were playing Frosthaven a few nights ago, earlier this week over at Nick's house, as we do. He's got my copy over there. He keeps it set up, and so it's real convenient to go over there and just easy for him to put the different scenarios together and we play.
How many scenarios are you in on that one now?
Oh gosh, probably more than 10, less than 20. So we're in the teens, probably the upper teens. We're probably getting close to 20
Okay.
in. So yeah,
Right.
a
And you're
good
still
chunk
liking
in.
it, or
We are on the Foreteller app. It tells me we're like 12% of the way through the content. So yeah, there's still a
man.
ton to go. Yeah, we got a ton.
You
You
got
don't
2
see
more
everything,
years.
of course.
You got
but
at least
yeah,
2 more years.
yeah, we got probably about 2 years to go on it still. But yeah, we are looking at it is definitely more complex, and I've said that over and over than Gloomhaven. It was meant to be. It's a little more puzzly. It's a little more punishing. But you've got this whole city building, town building thing. You're out at this little outpost, and you're building shops and building up the defenses. But go ahead, Wayne.
How is that? Because I've heard mixed reviews of that. Some people like love it, and then some people are like, it's kind of an afterthought. It's not really that big a deal.
Building the city is pretty neat. Making the choices on what you build, because then you can decide, if you build this type of shop, it's going to give you more pelts, which helps you design more armor and stuff like that. So you can actually kind of specialize more in what you do. The thing that was disappointing, and I know Tom Vassal on Dice Tower talked about it, is there's a whole phase where invaders or monsters attack during the winter, because you play through seasons, summer and winter. And during the winter, you have to prepare the city for attack. So you have to build up troops, you build up the walls. The whole little mini game of when the monsters attack is pretty disappointing. It's really just a couple of flips of cards, and you either defend or you don't. And if you don't, you flip some more cards and find out what gets destroyed. And so that part is you spend more time doing it than it really is exciting. It was neat the first couple of times, but Tom mentioned how he's like, man, this could have been so much more part of the game. And it really is kind of a letdown. So that part of it we're not liking so much. But I think the group of us, the three of us, are fairly cerebral gamers, and so we like to think through things. And you've got to like that. Again, Gloomhaven, a lot of people think Gloomhaven's really heavy, and it was. There's a lot of rules in Gloomhaven. 2 years in, we found out we were still missing some things and doing some things wrong, and that's after 100 plays or whatever. So this is even more so, but this one is really more. Like I say, it's more puzzly. You got to really think through it. You got to really do things in the right order sometimes. But we've been pretty successful so far. But it's fun.
That's where like the Gloomhaven, like you would probably hate my wife and I, because we play. I don't know. We're 2/3 of the way through Draws of the Lion, and we're just like
your house rule with picking everything up. We actually the other night,
I
had to leave a bunch of loot behind, and Nick was like, "We could just pull a Wayne and house rule it and pick all the stuff up."
Oh, there you go, do it.
Like,
it makes no sense whatsoever. Like, it was a
joke.
I'm in a
dungeon. He was
dungeon.
laughing when he said it.
I kill everything in the dungeon. Let's just leave it all behind. What? You're gonna pick it up. You're gonna pick
it's
up
a magic
teleporter
that when the last guy dies, you just teleport.
Everything.
back.
Everything.
F that.
Everything you don't have goes
not
away.
Just even that. Like I a game like that, I am much more into the story than I am the rules. Like,
no,
even we just there's certain things where it's like even not even to a much lesser extent in Mansions of Madness. Even like if there's something like sometimes those little puzzles in the app where it's like. I'm not good at it. I'm like, screw it. Let's like just move on. Like I want to get to the story. I don't need to, type thing. So there are some things like when it comes to like Euro gaming, it's the rules and whatever. But when it comes to a story-based game, I would much rather enjoy my experience than have the over frustration of one little rule or one little scenario where I might fudge it a little bit just to make sure that my enjoyment of it is still high, which is perfectly acceptable. It's just how we game, right? So you guys play a certain way, I play a certain way. And especially I would think I probably be more with my wife, because her and I game together. We love the story aspect of stuff. So we're just there for the story more than the rules. If I was playing with you guys, I'd probably be much more into the rules than
and it's interesting combination of things too. And I think having the right game group is big for that, because like I say, we're pretty cerebral. We like thinking our way through. Nick is definitely, he remembers the story. I don't remember the story at all. That kind of goes along with my theme is secondary, but he'll remind us each time. He's like, oh, so if you remember last time we were fighting the guys and we got through, and then now this is where we're at. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, cool. All right, so he carries that burden for us
in one ear right out the the other.
Yeah,
the rules,
I
right?
remember for about 30 seconds, and then I'm like, all right, what are we doing here? Who's going first? What are we doing? What's the deal? So, but real quick, the game I wanted to get to that
Yeah.
Joe mentioned was Star Wars Unlimited. So I mentioned to Nick before we started, I said, hey, he bought that game for the kids as a birthday present so that they could play some Star Wars Unlimited. So he's got the base game with Darth Vader and Luke. And so I told him, I was like, hey, I want to give that game a run. Joe didn't get a chance to stick around. We ran kind of late with our Frosthaven, so Joe bolted about 11. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to stay late, even though it's a work night. I'm going to stay late, and I want to check out this Star Wars Unlimited. And I did like it quite a bit. I got trounced by Nick. He's played a handful of times. He hasn't played a bunch, but he had played a handful of times with the kids. And so he was walking me through the different things. I played Luke, and he played Vader. And it's got some interesting mechanics in it. It reminds me of a lot of other collectible card games. I mean, I haven't played a lot of Magic. I played a couple games of Magic. It's definitely got some similarities to that. What was the other one? That we got into that had all the unique decks that you bought a deck and it was
Keyforge.
Keyforge, yeah, it's got some similarities to Keyforge. I mean, I guess a lot of these games do. The one thing I thought was, one of the things that I thought was kind of cool is you've got your base, so you've each got a base with I think it's 30 hit points, and so the winner of the game is you got to take out the opponent's base. But you've got two sections on your playmat. You've got land battle units and you've got space battle units, and so that was kind of cool that the space only spaceships can fight spaceships, but they can also the spaceships can attack the base if they either choose not to attack the ships. They can dedicate their, if your opponent has a ship, you can either attack the ship or you can choose to attack the base. The same with land units. So land units, you've got your soldiers, your troops, and your land vehicles, and they can attack the opponent's land vehicles, or if there's not one, or if you just choose to, you can attack the opponent's base. So just like any of them, there's a few keywords you got to learn just to kind of find out, what this means or what that means. You have one of the other cool things about it, and we've talked about this before, is that you have the leader of your side, your general or whatever. So Darth, in the base game, Darth and Luke are the two leaders. They are out from the beginning of the game. They have a spot on the board where they sit in the middle of your playmat if you have the playmats or whatever. But they don't come out. They don't come into battle. They have an ability, I should point out, that you can trigger while they're just sitting there. So you tap them. You can use that ability once around. For Luke, for me, it was I could tap him to spend a resource to then put a shield on one of my units, land or space. And then anytime they were attacked, no matter how much damage was done, the first attack that's done to them just automatically peels that shield off. They take no damage personally. Vader, his ability to counter that, he can tap and spend a resource to basically take a shield off of somebody. So they kind of work against each other there. So the base game, that part of it probably wasn't quite as exciting. As you build some decks and things, you'll do that. But the other mechanic I'll just mention here is that your cards, each round you take 2 new cards into your hand, and then you have the choice, if you want to dedicate one of those 2 cards as a resource. So you put it face down, and so the resources that you're spending to trigger everything, to buy units, to trigger special abilities and things like that, you're having to tap these resource cards. And so at the beginning of the game, I think you start with 0, but you draw, I think, a hand of 4, and your initial hand of 4, you choose, or it might have been 4, 5 or 6 cards, actually, now that I think about it. But anyway, whatever your initial draw is, you choose 2 of those and just put them face down as resources. You'll never see those again. They'll never come back face up or anything. Once they're dedicated as a resource, they just go down. So early in the game, if you draw a couple of really expensive late game cards, you're probably going to go ahead and put those down as resources. And then again, everything you do in the game is tapping these resources to play units out, to do special attacks, do things like that. So
sounds very similar to Magic or Commando.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I think that's you hit like the main my point, but question I was going to ask, because I played Magic, I played Lorcana, I played Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, I played all these cards over the years, and it's always like you have mana cards. In Lorcana, you play one card as an ink card, right? And it's getting those resources, the mana, right? So you can tap or whatever it is, right? Because mana is a copyrighted term, so you can't use it for every game, right? But like that's always like in a lot of those games, if you don't get the right kind of mana, the right kind of energy, resource, whatever, you're kind of screwed for X amount of turns. If the other person didn't. So the twist with this game is, instead of most of these games, Magic, whatever, you're drawing 1 card per turn.
Yeah.
Unless you have other cards that you draw more and you play things, whatever. But in general, it's 1 per turn. In this game, you're always drawing 2. And so you could always throw one of those away as a resource, like right away.
Yep.
I think that is interesting, and I think that is what makes this so accessible. Is you can ramp up quicker in this game probably than in other TCGs, LCGs, whatever you want to call them, like the battler games. Did you get that feeling from that?
I did, and that just touches on one other thing before I forget. One thing I have to mention is I started to hint at it, but your leader, so your general or whatever you want to call them, Luke and Darth at the beginning of the game, they automatically deploy as a unit into your units, your land units, once you hit 6. Oh, actually, it can vary. Luke was 6 resources. As soon as I put my 6 resource down, he immediately moved from kind of the inactive area where he could just tap to do the little shield thing, and then he becomes a unit in the battle. So it's kind of cool that at some point you can trigger that. You can hold that off because when you draw the 2 cards, you can choose not to play one as a resource, and you can just start. So later in the game, of course, once you feel you got enough resources to trigger what you need each round, you're just keeping cards, and it gives you more cards and more options. But that leader coming out when you do that, so mine came out 1 turn, I believe, before Nick's, and so it allowed me to get Luke out. Darth required 7 resources, if I remember correctly, and so I got Luke out at 6 resources. I was able to do a quick attack with him. Then Darth came out, hit Luke back, and it was kind of an interesting thematic that Luke walks onto the battlefield and then Darth walks on the battlefield. But yeah, the whole thing again, drawing to, like you say, and having some options now. Which one of these am I going to keep? Which ones am I going to just throw away as a resource? Really opens up the options, and it did ramp up quick. Again, you start with 2 at the beginning resources already, and then within 3 rounds you're already to 5 or 6 resources. There are other things in the game. I think Darth had something in his. Oh, it was one of his units, and he had several copies of it. One of his land units. I forget one of the characters. I forget who it was, but once he is killed, he automatically goes to a resource. So he's out there as a unit. Usually, when there's a discard pile, and if you're killed and you're defeated, you go to the discard pile. But his went to a resource, so he threw him out there, and he's like, I don't care if you kill him. He's just going to come as a resource. So it was like, all right, well, do I attack him or do I attack somebody else? And he had some keyword that was a threatening thing. So yeah, it was interesting. I did feel it ramped up pretty quick, and it made the gameplay quicker. Yeah,
interesting. It's certainly getting a lot of hype and buzz and selling out.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it a lot. So it's made me think just after one play that maybe I need to get into it. So
yeah. Oh boy.
Money.
Yeah, it's a money pit. They all are.
Yeah, I'm out.
Where do you guys go? What have y'all played?
Mike, what you got?
Go ahead, Wayne.
I don't have much, but I honestly was since I just started. Like, was interesting. My kids' soccer season finally ended. Like the 17,000 years of season length that they have down here.
Yeah,
it's no joke. I mean, his soccer season is like mid August, and we just finished the last game.
Well, we got the weather for it. You can play outside all year round. So yeah,
like August through August through April. But so now that it's over, like Tuesdays and Thursdays we used to go to practice all the time. So now we're getting back into gaming. So we played today. We played Oh No Volcano and Tonga Island, which is kind of thematic. Oh No Volcano is a very light kind of Plinko style game from Phil Walker Harding, plays B. And then Tonga Island is an old Ravensburger game, which is kind of interesting. It's got this cool little mechanism. You create like this ocean, and each square tile flips over. Like half of the tile flips over. So it's like kind of like a dual layer tile. When it flips over, it shows an island with like a resource with like sailing lines on it. And so you start on the edge of the board, and as you sail your ship around, when you come to the end of your tile, you'll flip the next tile over, and it'll open up new sea lanes, and you're trying to sail to certain islands and collect certain resources. And once you've collected the proper amount of resources, you then have to sail to like the main island, and the main island changes between the various things. So it's a very, very simple, Ravensburger old school kind of kid game, but it's fun. It's it's kind of this neat thing where you create the board, and it's, if you show the picture on Discord, it's really just the ocean, right? And then as you flip open the tile, you have the sea lanes, but then when you sail off of that tile, you flip it back over. So you got to kind of try to remember where did those sea lanes go. Like,
cool.
All the various tiles open and close as the game goes on. So you're trying to remember, like, oh crap, was this the one where I could sail to this island, or was this sea lane going to put me right through the next tile and sail right past the island I need to go to, right? And yeah, so it's fun. It's a fun little game. So we're getting back to more games with me and the kid, which is good. And I think we'll get some more time for that. And I think we have a game day coming up this Saturday, Wesley Chapel Game Group, and I'm looking forward. Rob, you're looking more like you're going to be there. So I'm going to bring a couple of games that I've been trying to get you to play for a while. So yeah, looking forward to that. Oh, I can't hear you, Rob. I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, I muted myself. There was
There
some
you
noise
go.
in the background. I forgot I was muted. I was gonna say, yeah, I am planning to come. My schedule's looking pretty open, and I know you had said something about Orleans. Maybe I'll bring that also.
Bring that, yeah. But I'm gonna be there right at noon, and we get
Okay.
there like right away. And Village has to. I want to get
okay,
to the
yeah, I want to
table.
play that.
We're
Yep,
playing
yep.
Village. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm going to try to get there, and that way you can save me a spot.
Sounds good. Mike, you haven't played anything lately, or
I haven't played anything.
Busy?
Man. The
Yeah.
last thing I played
Nothing.
was Detective and Robo
that's good.
Trick.
Nice.
And I painted my first mini this past weekend.
That was a good
I
job,
like,
man.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, yeah. it
All,
looked really
all
good.
you did, all
Yeah.
you did is just hammer home that I shouldn't
You're
even
being-
bother.
He was being modest there, but yeah, it looked really good. Yeah.
I mean, I'm too OCD. Like, it doesn't matter how
Yeah.
good it came out. I would have complained about it, you know.
That's why I
But
don't paint. I
I'm
got
happy
one
with
model
how
up
it
here that's
turned
like
out.
one little model that up here that's like you can't see it, but it's half done, and I quit because I didn't like what it was going on, and so I just people keep telling me you can't worry about that. You just got to slap the layers on.
Yeah.
You fix it in post. You do it as you go, and
Fix
I
it in
can't. If
post.
it's, yeah, fix it in post. No, but if it doesn't look right, if it's not perfect, I'm dunking it and starting
Yeah.
over. I don't.
Yeah.
I do have a whole bunch of stuff on my Amazon wish list. I have like a little the handle and a set of brushes and like a army speed
Oh,
painter
man.
like set, like a beginner set that comes with
Mhm.
some figs, just to
I
try.
got-
And I need to
I got
figure it
bit
out.
by the bug, man.
Yeah, Dan said he's going to do some
Uh,
classes here in Tampa again. I think I might.
Yeah,
have
he
to
does
sign
that.
up
I'm
for
gonna
one.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
But so that's
My
cool.
son ordered like a quick, a smaller set of Army Painter Speed Paint 2, which are
Okay.
more like, I wouldn't say contrast paints, but they're made to do more of a slap chop maybe type of painting job. And a while ago, when I first was thinking about getting into painting, I was going to buy this huge Army Painter Speed Paint 2.0 set, and it was going to be like $300. And my son was like, "Don't buy that. That's ridiculous. You don't even need all those paints, whatever." So anyway, he said, "Oh, you want to paint this weekend?" I was like, "Yeah, I got these two minis that one was broken. Like the one that I showed, you can see that the guy's arm
His
is
arm
gone.
is.
It's,
Yeah, I was gonna ask
yeah,
him
I
what
saw
happened to his
that.
arm.
it's Ares from what was that? Poseidon, not Poseidon. I can't remember the name of the game, but it was like all Greek gods, and it was like a skirmish type game. It'll come Battle of Pantheon or something like that. Anyway, it was one of the minis that came damaged. They sent me a replacement, and I was like, this is the perfect practice mini. I don't care how it turns out. And I had him primed forever. And so we finally got into it this past weekend. And I knew as soon as I started painting it, I was like, I shouldn't have primed this guy black, because I was thinking more shadows is what I was thinking of. But because of the paints I was using and I had crappy brushes, I just wasn't getting the coverage that I wanted. And I probably should have done like a zenithal type, a white or light gray on top of the black. But so that was kind of like, I was like, however it turns out, and again, it's the first one. I don't give a crap, I'm only going to progress from here on out. It's the way I kind of look at it. So, but Miniature Market had a sale on speed paints, and they were selling their singles cheaper than what you could get like a set for, because usually the sets are cheaper, overall. And I ended up going on there and just loading up a cart full of they were only $3. Normally they're like $5 and up. So I was thinking, all right, well, that's pretty cool. So I ended up ordering a bunch of those. Those are coming in Sunday.
And that was like a whole new realm of Kickstarters for various lights and shelving units and like handheld things, that you
Holders,
can-
yeah.
holders.
So the Modi Boxy thing that I did,
Yeah.
the 3D printing. Well, one of their things is you can print like paint holders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So this is one of two
Cool.
that I've painted, or one of two that I printed out, and you can stick them in boxes with holders and stuff like that. So, I'm going to be going down this whole rabbit hole now.
Down that whole rabbit
I'm
hole.
sure.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
really all that I've
Very
been
cool.
up to.
Nice.
Not too
and,
much.
I will probably talk about it next couple of weeks, but some of the looks like Dice Tower started some top 100 lists this week. I don't know if you've
Oh
I'm
yeah,
interested
yeah.
in
Yeah.
seeing
Joey,
the-
Camilla,
and Chris.
Chris, and then the other it's Roy, Chris's wife, Wendy, and
Wendy.
What's his name? The gaming Jason Levine.
Oh, Jason Levine.
Yeah.
Yep, there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Luckily, this
Nice.
time he doesn't have a lozenge in his mouth the whole time like he did.
Yeah, no, tell me about it.
last year.
Yeah, he hadn't done his list in like 6 or 7 years, so I know
6 or
some
7
people are
years.
interested in seeing
Yeah,
his.
this is good.
Yeah.
They mentioned today. Chris Yee mentioned Aladdin's Dragons was on his
Oh,
list.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, maybe I will have to bust out that game because I have a copy of it. I'm like, that's the one I haven't
Interesting.
played in years.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I'm a little more interested in seeing the ones that are coming up than the ones with Wendy and Roy. And although
Yeah,
I think what's his name is hilarious, but
Who?
we were just
Levine?
talking about him.
Jason Levine.
Jason Levine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's
Yeah.
funny
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, he's a good.
in his own way.
He's a passionate
funny.
dude, which I love.
Yeah.
He's definitely
Big time game collector. He's got an incredible collection.
He's got to have
Yeah.
5, 6, 7,000 games easy.
Oh
man.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's crazy. But
He does. He works in like Univision or something like that, or something.
yeah, he does.
TV
Yep,
company.
Univision. Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
Nice. So, but I'm
Oh, I
looking
gotta-
forward to. I like Joey. So Joey Evans, Camilla, and Chris Yee are doing theirs together, and it's interesting. They must have this running joke with the damn Dune Imperium or Dune.
Oh, the bucket.
popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like,
What did you hear
Camilla-
that? I saw
Camilla
it.
lost it today, man. She was laughing.
It's now a battle because they announced that Deadpool, the new Deadpool movie,
Yeah.
they've announced
Oh,
that they are going
they're
to
gonna
do a
have a worse.
raunchier bucket than the Dune one. So
Of course,
Yeah,
there's
this'll
about
be-
marketing, right?
yeah, this will be
Yeah.
interesting to see how that shakes out. But I got to touch on one
yeah.
other game
Yeah,
or game
go for it.
day that
Yeah.
we had. Yeah, before we wrap up here, I know we're getting close to the 11 o'clock hour here Eastern, but we had a game day. Oh, I'm not gonna mess this up because I'm gonna say I know my memory here. I'm gonna say it was months ago, and it was April 14th, so it was just a week and a half ago. Over at Jim Odak's house. So he invited a couple people over to play games. And so originally I asked, who was coming. And so I know it was Jim. And then he mentioned Sam was going to be there. And I was like, oh, Jim, me, Samantha, heavy Euros. This is all right. I'm down for this. And then I heard Brian Zeno. I was like, oh, okay, this just took a turn. So
Oh, yeah.
this is going to be, big
It's gonna be a
4-hour
TI4
games.
night, basically.
Yeah, TI4, something like that. So
Although you
I-
might get Zaya to the table with him going.
that
on.
I wouldn't have minded. Zaya, I like a lot. So I know he owns that. He's a big fan of that. So we kind of went a middle road. So I was happy. I heard that we might play Land, Air, and Sea. Is that the right one? I know that I've got the little card game one or whatever.
Oh, the miniature one.
Yeah, it's Air, Land, and Sea or Land, Air, and Sea.
Yeah.
One of them's a little card game, and one of them's this huge 4-hour board game. And so that was going through my mind, and I guess it actually did come up on the maybe playlist. But the two we ended up playing, we were there for it was a good chunk of the day. But we played Cthulhu. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Cthulhu Wars first, which was a nice experience. It was the second time I had ever played Cthulhu Wars, and it ended up being 5 of us. Alex, I don't know if y'all have met Alex yet, but Alex was there as well. And so the 5 of us played Cthulhu Wars. I got stomped in Cthulhu Wars. The first time I played that was at Dice Tower, and we played with the maximum count, which is like 7 or 8 people.
You
were in that game. That's right.
Mo
and I won
and,
that
yeah.
game. I ended up turtling and kind of sitting in the corner. And at the end, my race, my whatever, I can't remember which one I played, got more powerful as the game went on. So I needed to kind of stay quiet. There's a lot of negotiation in this game. There's a lot of, hey, let's team up on this person and go that way. And you don't mess with me, I won't mess with you. So, but this game, I got destroyed. I had another one of the races, one of the great old ones that was really weak at the beginning, and I kind of built my powers as other people triggered things on their boards, and I did very poorly, but I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the experience. If you haven't played that game, if you like big 3-4 hour games, you like area control, definitely the Cthulhu, you got these big giant great old ones coming out on the board, these giant miniatures that just dwarf everything else, and they're fighting each other and just stomping on people. It's a cool experience.
Yeah, we were supposed to play that at Jim's a month or two ago, and he got sick, or his whole
That's right.
family got sick that weekend. So yeah, I was
Yep.
looking forward to that. Oh well.
He wants
Cool.
to play again. He wants to play
Yeah,
a
I'm
max
down.
count. We
Cool.
played with 5, so he's looking to get something together again. So yeah, I'll talk to him and make sure we get you in on the next one.
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
We played after that. We played Eclipse Second Dawn. So this was the reprinting of Eclipse, a space-based game. This is a 4X game.
Him and Zeno love that game, man.
They do. They play that a lot. Yeah. And so I actually did well in this one. So we played again a 5-player game of that. I played, the only other time I had played is Zeno had gotten the Kickstarter on the original, the first version of Eclipse when it came out. Gosh, it had to have been 6, 7, 8 years ago. And as soon as it came out, we played a game of it at Armada Games here in Tampa. And was a fun experience. There were some things I didn't like about it. Eclipse Second Dawn fixed a lot of stuff. So this is the first time I played Eclipse Second Dawn. This is only the second playing of the Eclipse that I've ever had. It fixes the tech tree. It fixes kind of how you acquire tech. It irons out some of the battle mechanisms and some of the weapons and stuff in the game. And so it was nice. It's got nice minis. It's got little trays that hold everything. You just pass each player their player color. Everything is in this little tray. What game trays? That's what I was trying to remember. They're game trays. They snap together. They hold everything nice. It's really a nice production game, and I really enjoyed it. I do have to hit on, though, I know Sam mentioned in the Discord that I was somewhat merciful to her at the end. These games, I do not like playing the aggressor, but I happened to just get a race. I chose it randomly, that one of the races that was very warmonger, that was very aggressive. It had big ships right out of the bat. And so I typically turtle in a lot of games because I like to just kind of be left alone. I'm a Euro gamer. I like to get my economy going. I like to do the exploration thing. Leave me alone. Let me mine resources. Let me build stuff. And then in these war games, at some point you got to go to war. So I build all my stuff, and then do the thing. So Samantha had a race that she was right next to me. So she was adjacent to me. And again, you're sitting around a table. And so you're adjacent to one person on your left, one person on your right. There's a central location you can travel across to get to the other side. But, again, that's usually a lot more effort than it's worth. So anyway, Sam had a race that gave her points for every planet or every system that she controlled at the end of the game. And so early in the game, she's just gobbling up systems. People are leaving her alone. It's like she had this. So Alex points out about a third of the way into the game, she's like, somebody has to go take care of Sam. And so it was me or it was Jim on the other side of her. Jim, because we weren't playing a max count game, there was a big section in between Sam and Jim on the other side. So it would have taken a big effort for Jim to get across. So I kind of, again, early on. So they put me in that position. Everybody was like, you have to go get Sam. And I was like, I don't like doing that. And they're like, she's going to win. She's going to run away with this thing if somebody doesn't go hit her. But I played my normal game the first third of the game. So again, I had built up resources. I had put these big ships together. And so she was playing a game where you're discovering and you're laying out tiles as you go. And the tiles have different sections where you can go onto them and off of them. And so they're not open on all sides. And so she was the whole time she was building this little wall where I couldn't get to her. And she kept blocking me off. So I kind of move a ship her way and then she'd close off that way. And then we finally got to this bottom section where there was a warp gate where I could kind of jump across. And so I finally got into the territory, and I hate doing this because it got to the point, and I know her race just wasn't ready to defend what I was bringing at that point. And so I got to the point where I was just kind of marching through her stuff, and I just planet after planet and system after system. It was just every turn was pecking away. And she got frustrated. And this happens to me too. So I'm not blaming Sam, but at the end of the game, she's like, you know what? The last 2 rounds, I don't even want to play. She's like, just do something for me. No. She's like, I felt so bad. And then so I stopped at that point. I told her, you know what? I was like, I think I'm to a point where I've got enough points to win this game. I'm not going to try to take you out of the game. I'm not going to take you off the map. So she, said afterwards that she was appreciative that I didn't do that. Yeah. And she did kind of hang in. She played half-heartedly the last couple rounds. But, I hate that feeling. I hate it's like, I did this. I kind of had to, so I kind of knew I needed to. But then everybody else, I didn't mention that right before I did that, I made alliances with the other 3 people in the game so that we really couldn't attack each other at all. So I was completely protected on the one side. And then, I moved. I was all in. Everything was going at Sam. So, yeah.
That sometimes tends that's why I generally don't try to play those giant games as often. Yeah. Because somebody always gets screwed and then they're stuck playing a game. Like I played Twilight Imperium a couple times where I'm like, third into the game, I'm like, there ain't no way I'm coming out of this. Like, or it's a miracle for me to turn this around. So I've just now got to sit here for the next 3 or 4 hours or 7 and just suck it up and just, like it's hard to play those big battler games, those big epic games like that, those 4X games where usually there's a couple of people towards the end of the game that the last couple of turns they know they're not winning.
You just know, yeah.
And it's tough. It's hard. I'm with you. I would probably be like Sam. I'd be like, all right, you know what? Can I go start this game over here and I'll just come back and do my turn because there's nothing I can do anyway.
No,
yeah.
Rob.
So
I did it again. Sorry. I got the TV on in the other room with the draft and stuff. So when they get loud, I try to mute myself. But anyway,
right.
I've been there. I've definitely done that. And Carlos is going to enjoy this reference. Clash of Cultures. We played at was at the retreat, and it was my first game. Carlos was teaching. It was either a retreat or Dice Tower a couple of years ago, Dice Tower East. And my only experience with Clash of Cultures was kind of that experience. You start Clash of Cultures with 2 settlers. And so like a lot of these civ builders, you start and you got to explore and do things. I thought Clash of Cultures was going to be a much more rewarding for the exploration aspect. I really enjoy that in games, the civ games where I send somebody out, I might discover a village, it might be hostels, it might be a big, stash of gold or whatever. I find out as I'm starting to get into this game that Clash of Cultures, all you do is when you discover a new area is you flip a tile and you decide which way it orients, but there's nothing you discover on the tile or whatever. So anyway, long story short, William was one of my closest people. And so I'm kind of moving towards him, and everybody was like, oh, you're getting aggressive with William. I was like, no, I'm just trying to see if I can find something. As I'm flipping these tiles, I'm thinking there's going to be a tile somewhere that's going to have something cool and it's really going to be rewarding. And so one of my 2 units, my 2 sets, so my first settler, of course, I just stayed in my spot and started building my town. But the other one, everybody else is going just a couple of, squares away, a couple of hexes away, and then setting up their second civilization. And then they're trying to build a new settler so they can get a third, unit on the board or whatever. But I marched mine right over to Will. I kept going towards him. And then he, of course, again, everybody chiming in on that, he took it as an aggression. He's like, why are you coming at me? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm just trying to explore. No. You're coming at me. You're trying to take me out. So he ends up, like in the second round of the game, he ends up killing one of my 2 settlers. And so I'm hamstrung. Everybody else has 2 or 3 cities. They're building up. And we're talking about a 2, 3, 4 hour game. And so I got salty about it. I played the rest of the game. I didn't quit. I played it out. But Carlos was like, that was a miserable experience for you. William just kicked your ass and you didn't like it very much. And I was like, well, he did. I was like, I had no defense at that point. I just marched a guy right up to his border. And then he built a unit and came and killed me. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's a bad feeling. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do whatever. Yeah. My next turn. Yeah, I'll do whatever. So 2 hours I'm sitting there, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll do whatever. So it's a bad feeling. So I don't like being on the opposite side of that, being the person who puts you in that position. Yeah. But yeah, it's a part of those games. It happens. So
yeah, agreed.
Cool. Anyway, but all right, you guys have anything else? Anything exciting?
No, excited to play some games this weekend. Get some games in for this month, and
for sure.
I'm going to be painting this weekend.
And a couple of messy months for work, man.
No, yeah, mine's been crazy. I've been behind for a couple of months, and so I'm not even close to catching up. I was gonna mention I did start watching Fallout. I watched the very first episode a couple nights ago.
So good.
What'd you think?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Crazy episode, right?
The first one being a big fan of Fallout. Yeah, it was pretty dang good.
I'm a fan of Walter Goggins. I think he's a fantastic actor. He's been in so many good things, and he's fantastic in this series. Perfect.
I got to get back to Westworld and watch that.
I have to get back to that too. Yeah, I actually just started watching Black Sails. I
got that on my queue.
Got released on Netflix, and I had watched it off and on, but now I'm just gonna power through and watch it all, and I'm liking that. So now I want to play a pirate game.
yeah, I hear you. Pirate games are good. Carlos has got a handful of them. We can break some of those out anytime.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah. Cool. I got to get my Dead Reckoning to the table. Speaking of pirate games.
Oh yeah, that's good too. Yeah.
And then Mike, you and I we got to do a podcast recording next week or so I can talk about Japanese games.
Oh yeah,
Indonesia. So.
We got to do that soon because I'm going to be flying to Florida Wednesday.
Ooh, where are you going to?
In our area?
Fort Lauderdale. I mean, I don't want to bring anybody down. It's for my wife's mom's service. They're doing
yeah.
But then that weekend, not this weekend, but the following weekend, my son's graduating college from USF.
Oh, nice.
So we're going up to Tampa for a couple of days and then we're flying back. But yeah, maybe I'm hoping. I was kind of texting with Mo, like out of the blue. It was kind of odd. he was playing a game with Raphael last night, and he kind of pinged me out of the blue. And we're going to try and get together, at least do some like a lunch, maybe not get a game in, but we're going to try and meet up for lunch. But if I can get a game in with you guys, that'd be pretty awesome if I could do that.
Game or a meal or something.
Anything. You're
on
mute
again. You're on mute.
Can't hear you. Nope.
Oh.
See, Rob's on the technical issues now instead of me.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll call it a night here.
Yep.
We appreciate everyone. Hey, we went 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, we went over.
Like we're gonna talk a minute. So for Rob, I'm gonna say I don't what's the whole outro here. We're gonna say
He's just giving a thumbs up.
Just give a thumbs up. I can just play the outro.
To like, subscribe. This is usually a call-in show every Thursday night at 9 Eastern. Hopefully next week you guys will. Hopefully Carlos is going to be good for next week. We can get back to the phone calls. And
that's Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne. We're the Beans and Dice podcast about
how we game.
There you go.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye, everybody.